Your Omaha area forecast, presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. From the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
From the Plum Right Time Saving Traffic Center, good morning. Happy Feel Good Friday. It's a quiet start to this morning in the Omaha Metro. There's no accidents or delays to report, so pretty much everything smooth sailing for the time being. You shouldn't have to worry about being late to your destination, but if that changes, I'll keep you updated throughout the rest of the morning once traffic starts picking up. Be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
Every Husker home game Saturday at 1620 the pregame on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. Presented by Chandler Conway, Nebraska personal injury lawyers you can trust. Every Nebraska home game day, join me, John Bishop, and Michael Severe, live inside Blur Tailgate for Husker analysis, a look at the day's slate of college football, and more. 2.5 hours before kickoff, we get you game ready. 1620 the pregame, where Nebraska game day starts. Also presented by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next on 1019 The Keg and 1620 The Zone.
Join the movement to end breast cancer. Walk with us October 19th at Holmes Lake Park in Lincoln. Support research, celebrate survivors, and make a difference. Sign up or donate now at makingstrideswalk.org/Nebraska.
Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. Presented by No Name Nutrition and Equitable Bank. Also brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino, Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and by Peerless Energy Systems. Immediately after the game, join the show and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction. When the clock strikes 0 after each Nebraska game, it's time to sound off on 1019 The K and 1620 The Zone. Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Matt, and Jim.
All right, good morning. It's a Football Friday Fiesta. Hello, everyone. The sports are good, really, really good. They're unpredictable. Some might even say the sports right now are a little bananas.
Oh, nice.
Welcome in, everybody. You're tuning in on 1620 The Zone TV, wherever you might get us. It's a Football Friday Fiesta. It's Gary and Matt with Jimmy. So welcome in, everybody. It is another day of sports. Sports are good. Sports were good last night.
Yes, they were.
Yes. Not so much if you're in the city of Philadelphia. Like, this would be the perfect day to be hosting on WIP.
It would be.
Just turn the phones on and sit back.
Well, it's the first time since 1983 that the Phillies, the Flyers, and the Eagles have all lost on the same day.
Wow.
Yeah, so
What
I
a
listened.
stat.
So their morning show has started.
Okay.
And so I listened to like the first 10 minutes, and it wasn't any callers. The two hosts went on their little rant. But I felt an obligation to call WIP in Philadelphia, which is a legendary sports talk station. Here's what I would say.
Oh, okay.
They would, because I'm sure they're wall to wall. They've probably been on all night after, the Phillies, the way that game ended. And then the Eagles had one of the more embarrassing losses of the NFL season, which is completely unpredictable this year. I would call in and go, I got a Sixers question.
Do you think Embiid's gonna play this year? You think he's gonna be 75 games, guys? Over under?
Bobby Jones, underrated.
So the sports were good last night. The sports will be good today because we get a game 5 in the ALDS. And then the sports will be fantastic on Saturday and Sunday. And of course, Nebraska and Maryland on the East Coast. 2:30 kickoff on Big Ten Network. Yes, Big Ten Network.
It is Big Ten Network.
Yes. So the Big Ten Network will carry the Nebraska-Maryland game, but we have a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, I was going to bring this up. Is this also going to be a case of like the fastest BROR of all time?
So,
yeah.
So the OGs are hosting Big Red Overreaction.
Repeat of 2016.
It's my only trip to the Big Red Overreaction chair this year. I'm very happy about that. So 2016,
yes,
Bishop and I did a Big Red Overreaction ahead of the clincher against the Dodgers in the NLCS.
Great game.
And that show is the fastest show in the history of Big Red Overreaction. I believe that was the Indiana game in Bloomington. So it was kind of a game. We flew through it. 42 minutes. Big Red Overreaction was 42 minutes that night. Because I immediately got on the air and I said, we're not going to be here very long because we got a Cubs game to watch. And there is no way that we're going to watch that Cubs game while we are on the air to go to the World Series.
We're going to take a long break and burn all the breaks, and we'll be right back.
Well, and people understood the assignment. Like people are like, yeah, you know what? There wasn't really much to talk about in the game. And we're in, we're out, and we're on to baseball. And I think most people were excited. All the sponsors got the reads in.
Nice.
So they had to be extremely happy. So Bishop and I are back on Saturday. So I'm doing the timeline.
I'm going with the Cubs to win then.
Well, the Cubs, the Cubs and the Brewers are at 7:08.
Yeah.
Okay. I-94 is going to be packed for the next couple of days. So 7:08. You think we'll be on the air with Big Red Overreaction probably about 5:46.
Okay.
Oh,
so 5:46, because you remember Maryland throws the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So 5:46, we will be on the air. I'm just going to tell you now, we're not going any longer than, well,
6:45.
first
We get an
inning's
hour
been
show.
pretty important for the Cubs.
Yeah.
So I would say if you want to get in online right now and hold, we'll be done with Big Road Overreaction by 7:15.
Oh, an hour and a half.
Yeah, so we're gonna go. We'll go a little bit. People, are, I mean, we got to, because there could be a lot happen in this game.
This isn't the
game to go to the World Series either.
No, and that's an incredibly serviceable Big Red Overreaction. Now, I do think though, are you worried at all that there might be like a calamity or two that might happen in the Nebraska football game that would force you to be on for longer than an hour and a half?
A calamity. Like, describe what calamity would lead to some consternation on a post-game call-in show, the best call-in show that covers Nebraska football.
Maybe like hypothetically they were like up 10 with 8 minutes to go.
And they lost?
Well,
that would be unfortunate.
That would be incredibly unfortunate. I
really
don't think
bad.
it's going to happen. But do you think that would, are you worried at all that might force you to be on longer than an hour and a half because so many people would have to get their anger out and frustration?
I don't know.
Okay.
I still think I like where we're at. See, this is what my gut says this morning about this game.
Okay.
So I haven't had a really good gut read this week, other than Ja'Cory Barney's going to return a punt for a touchdown. Probably will be a punt where it will angle a little bit away from him. He'll step to the right.
Okay.
He'll make the catch. Maryland's coverage units are not very good.
Mm-hmm.
And so he'll catch it right. He'll have a lead block. He will go left, then he will cut back right, and he will score in the right corner of the end zone.
Wow.
Okay.
That is my oddly
right.
specific prediction on Ja'Cory Barney. But my gut says this about this game as I look further into Nebraska and Maryland, and the just wild stat that Sip shared yesterday that Gas Can put out there that they haven't won back-to-back road games since 06.
Still wild.
There's a lot of terrible stats that are not something you promote about Nebraska football. Back-to-back road games?
Our lives were a little
06.
different in 06.
Wild.
Just a little bit.
Zach Taylor was still in college in
Yeah.
06.
You talked about Matt Harrion at the start of yesterday's show.
Yeah, that was Matt
was-
Harrigan's last year. Maybe that's a sign.
Uh-huh.
This game will either be Nebraska will win via blowout, and I'm saying two or more touchdowns,
Right.
or it will be a close game.
I don't see blowout. The reason why I don't see blowout is that I just am very worried about the very good pass rush from Maryland. And I think that even if, and we'll talk about this later in the show, like I think there obviously are ways in the play calling that you can alleviate pressure from Dylan. And I think Dana will do that. But I just think that the pass rush on top of the fact that they are really good at just taking the ball away from regardless of who they're playing against. I just don't see it just terms of matchups of Maryland's defense versus Nebraska's offense. I don't see blowout. I see close games.
And again, I'm not saying a blowout, but that's my gut says either
Sure.
Nebraska
One or the
wins
other.
by 2 or more touchdowns,
Mhm.
or it is a close game within the margin of the spread. Is Maryland is going to be so one-dimensional in this game, and
Yeah.
Maryland, their inability to stay on the field could lead to, again, Nebraska has a significant advantage in terms of special teams in the return game,
Especially if they're
in the
clicking.
coverage game. And so field position, it could be a day where Nebraska benefits from some short fields. And so all of a sudden they're starting to ring up some points. I mean, if Maryland can't have an ounce of running the football and they're forced to throw it, I think they'll get yards, but will they get yards on third down to stay on the field? That's where, if that doesn't happen, then that's what leads me to think, oh man, Nebraska could take advantage of what I just said and win by a couple of touchdowns and everybody be hunky-dory and then be like, you know what? You and Bishop, you guys just take Big Red Overreaction off.
Be
Go
off
watch
by
the Cubs
6:30.
game at 7:08.
That is the dream. That would be incredible. I do have to warn you though. There are a lot of reads for Big Red Overreaction. So we'll
Also known as the Matt
no,
show.
but there's like 70. So it's just like you guys are gonna have to like, which will be very
You know what?
entertaining to
I don't
hear.
look at them as reads. I look at them as a thank you to our partners that are part of Big
Yeah.
Red Overreaction.
Yes.
You might look at them as reads. You guys struggle through them. And you're like, oh my God, I got to read another one. I say, you know what? Equitable Bank. Go there right now. It's not open, but go there.
Wait for Doug.
but it might be awkward if you're outside of a bank that's not open. People might. I'm just saying.
Especially on
Think
Sunday.
you're doing something shady.
All right, so we'll have lots on Nebraska, Maryland. It's a slate. I love this college football slate. It's a
Very good
playoff elimination weekend, and I also think this. Have you dubbed this weekend what the title of the weekend is for college football?
Have I dubbed? I have not dubbed this weekend.
Good
in terms of
marketing
the
guy.
title.
You come up with these little sayings of what this weekend should be in college football.
Okay.
I remember.
You
that
know
they do
what?
that.
You know how we talk about
Judgment Saturday.
like we'll use no. I got a good one.
It
I got a
could,
good one.
that's actually not bad.
When we're in an election, right? And there is like
Whoa.
a state that is going to turn the tide.
Yeah.
What do we call that state? We call it a battleground state. Hey, that's
Okay.
that's going to turn
Okay.
the tide. I look at this slate, and I think that this slate could turn the tide of college football in terms of what you talked about, eliminating college CFP teams and whatnot. We could get an outlook of how many Big Ten teams might be in the CFP. So I will deem this slate the battleground slate.
Okay, I like that. On this weekend in October, which according to not.com
Mhm.
is the third most popular weekend to get married in the United States.
Okay.
So week 7 of the college football season, there are gonna be some people that are ticked off that they're forced to go to a wedding, or that their significant other, I don't want to say it, because some relationships, the woman is more of a college football fan than a guy.
Sure.
I married a Nebraska girl. That was never going to be an option.
They made a mistake, or they live in somewhere that has a bye this weekend. So this is like the third most popular weekend. I like where you're going with that. I will say this. So you're a big fan of the Who, right? Peter Townsend.
I know the Who.
That Who?
Mhm.
Who? Not
Wasn't an owl.
not the kids' book.
No.
Okay,
I
not
know,
Doctor Who.
Not Horton.
Oh,
Horton.
this is
Not Doctor Who. What? Dr. Seuss.
Horton. Here's a Who.
Yes.
So
Or former Cowboys
wait,
D-back Ray
I
Horton.
hope he hears good news, and all of a sudden the Cubs start him tomorrow night. That'd be nice.
So here's the thing though with the Who. The Who is like one of those bands where I don't really know any of their songs.
Yeah.
But I'll be listening and I'll look at someone and be like, "Who sings this? Yeah, who sings this banger?" And they'll be like, "Oh, the Who." And I'm like, "Oh, what a
Ronnie
great band."
Millsap.
That's
Johnny
happened-
Osmond.
No, that's not one of
That's
those.
not
things.
Smoky
I'm actually
Mountain
giving-
Rain.
I'm giving a compliment to the Who.
Yeah.
The Who, what, when, where, and why.
Okay.
Where's the rest of your face? I can't get over this. You look like you're 14.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
there hasn't been any comments on the.
I
Well,
liked the beard.
Hey, it's bring your kid to a work day today. Yes.
We do kind of look similar right now.
Yeah.
We're both very clean shaven.
Yeah. I'm not a beard guy, but you had a good looking beard
It
going, and
was.
you've shaved.
It
So
got annoying.
this is the Who is Who weekend.
I like that.
Because like,
That's a good
who are you? Who? I think the Who is Who weekend. That's what I'm dubbing this weekend in college football. Now, after watching the NFL last night, it could be like,
Jeez.
I have no idea what's going on. That's what, that result last night between the Giants and the Eagles, that's what makes the NFL such great theater that people watch. And it doesn't matter who's playing because it's so unpredictable. And I don't think that was just a Thursday night thing, a short week for Philadelphia. I think the Eagles got some issues, and it was kind of fun. I don't know, Giants might be likable and they're bad, which is a rare combination.
Sure.
But a game like that last night in the NFL, you go, oh, anything can happen on any given Thursday on Prime.
Do you have you ever seen the Big
Another good
Cat
marketing
tier
bite.
list? Or like Big
I
Cat
have,
makes his like very funny tier list,
I
and
have not.
sometimes Nebraska
Going to
will
the
end up
Cats.
in Big Cat's like NFL tier list.
Uh-huh.
But he has a mainstay which is bad but frisky, and then there's a tier that's good but frisky. The Giants are the ultimate bad but frisky team. You cannot convince me that they are going to make the playoffs, that they're going to make a run, that they're going to end up like winning, do anything notable. But I will watch Cam Scatterbo run the ball every single day of the week. I will watch Jackson Dart with his stupid chain that makes him look it's a dumb. I can't believe he wears that big of a chain when he plays football,
Yeah.
but it makes him look cool.
Yeah,
It just makes him look dope.
That bell is getting rung.
Yeah.
What is it? Wan'Dale Robinson called Jackson Dart Vanilla Vic last night after the game.
Wow.
That's incredible. That's a good nickname. So real quick, you talk about the Eagles having problems. The last 10 quarters, the Philadelphia Eagles have been outscored 74-40.
Yeah, they've got a lot of issues. Now, they had a key offensive lineman down and a key defensive lineman down, but you lost to a rookie quarterback and a team that had been struggling. If you had to make a wager, I know you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
You can only pick one. Who's more likely to go back to the Super Bowl, the Eagles or the Chiefs right now? Right now, week 6 of the NFL season.
I would say the
Thank you.
I would say
Because
the
Rice
Chiefs.
is coming back next
I would
week,
say the Chiefs.
and their offense is okay. I think A.J. Brown is going to be an issue for Philadelphia, and it's not his play because he was asked after the game, and he has no recollection of a meeting earlier in the week with Barkley or Hurts. So good luck in Philadelphia, but their offense, as you were rattling off that stat, their offense is in the blender right now. All right, coming up on the show on a Football Friday Fiesta, Brett Ciancia and Lee Sterling go back to back. Coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, I feel for Brett. I don't know what kind of mood Brett will be in.
Oh, not a great mood at all. I can't imagine. I mean, to lose a primetime game in the NFL is one way, but then to lose the game that you lost yesterday in baseball, the way in which you lost it, I couldn't imagine waking up in the morning. And
Yeah,
being
we
very
were
happy.
texting back and forth, and so I'm not sure what we're gonna get. But I'm gonna spin it this way with him. I'm gonna try and make him feel real good
Okay.
because it was a game of throw last night. Unbelievable way that a game ended. A walk-off air to have your season end.
Terrible.
But this is how I'm gonna spin it to Brett. I'm not trying to convince him that Trey Turner and Bryce Harper and Schwarber didn't really hit in their losses in this series.
Yeah.
Well, either did my guy Shohei.
Meh.
Shohei struggled a little
He's
bit.
saving it for the LCS.
You know what? That's a good. You know what? Good. Optimistic Jimmy. I like that.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know who I am.
last night, the way the game ended at Dodger Stadium in the 11th inning, which was being shown at the high school game that I was at last night.
I saw that picture. That was awesome.
It was a college football baseball ending.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it. No, isn't it kind of ironic when a game ends on a pitcher's error on a throw to home? Isn't that kind of funny? Like
doesn't happen very often. So
Well, but
I don't know if it's funny for Philadelphia fans. I don't know if it's funny for Owen Kirkering, who good that he stood up to the media. He got to get out of Philadelphia. Those fans,
oh God,
they will have that vision in their head. And you're a diehard sports fan, and you got a couple of teams that have taken you through the ringer. There are certain losses in your fandom that you'll never forget. You might win a title, but you'll never forget. Like I'm looking at that walk-off air, and all I can think about last night is Alex Gonzalez 2003. Okay, I'll never forget that play. Now, 13 years later, the Cubs won a World Series, but they were on the path to go to the World Series in 03. But there are certain losses.
You mentioned Ray Allen to
and
me the
moments.
other day.
Yeah, but that was a good one. Well, that was a bad one
For you. But you know what?
there are some losses that you will remember forever, even if you win like 3 straight world championships. That's one of those in that fan
morning,
base
Rod Strickland.
with a while that they have not won that you will remember forever. And he may go on to have a really, really good career, but man, that's what he'll be remembered for in Philadelphia. And I don't know if you can stay like for his sanity.
God, no.
But what a just unfortunate, wild ending to the game last night. But the LDS is actually the whole baseball playoffs have been great.
And it's actually been incredibly entertaining.
And the Cubs started at 8.
Not the baseball guy on the set here, but I've very much enjoyed it. I've also very much enjoyed my team making it incredibly interesting and winning some games. And then I do think I can't really put football on in the background. Like I can't really do a whole lot, and then the football game's on because I want to watch. Like I'm very dialed in on the football game. Baseball for me is such an awesome like low volume background sport where it's just like I'm kind of I'm doing work, prep for the show, looking at lines, looking at whatever, and then all of a sudden you just
slip that in there.
You just hear the bank just rise to its feet, or you hear Wrigley Field. Well, not Wrigley Field.
Oh, don't compare
Wrigley was nuts last night.
Like
Wrigley
was
Wrigley
incredible.
Field in October. I know I'm biased.
I thought of you.
Yeah. Wrigley Field in
Incredible.
October. It's raucous. Hey, ask Pat Murphy how much of an impact Wrigley Field had. It screwed them last night. They got it.
Oh yeah, but I just think
I get what you're saying, Matt. My apprentice, she loves baseball. It's the only thing that calms her down.
You start to hear him cheer in the background. You're like, oh my God. And then you look up, you're like, holy crap, 2 on, 1 out. Here comes Trey Turner. This is a big moment. And then he strikes out and everybody, cheers and everything like that. So it's incredible. Playoff baseball has been incredible.
Well, they messed with the Dodgers last night having an early start time with the traffic. Dodger Stadium is so big that you can still have 40K there, and it looks like there's a bunch of empty seats.
The 11th
Mary
inning,
Hart, like
there were
clockwork,
so many
leaves
people
after
who
the
just weren't there in the stadium in the 11th inning. And I think probably correctly so, because they're probably trying to beat the traffic to get the hell out of there.
You been to Dodger Stadium?
I have not.
So It's not easy to get to. It's not easy to get out of.
I figured.
And traffic is a problem in Los Angeles, but especially that time of the day. But again, they had a great crowd there last night. Dodger Stadium is 55,000. So you could have 45,000 people there, and everybody else in Major League Baseball go, that's a great crowd. That's a sellout. You still have 10,000 empty seats. But it was a great atmosphere last night, and the Dodgers are on to the NLCS. They will await either the Brewers or the Cubs. And I will watch the ending to the Mets and the Brewers LDS. I will watch it all day today, and I will watch it all day tomorrow until 2:30.
I thought of when you brought up the Philadelphia play. Next one I thought up was Trent Grisham being in Milwaukee. There was just no way he could re-sign with the team after that play. Same thing with, by the way, people forget Cody Parkey was like 94% from field goals in his last 12 games to end the year. The dude could not miss for the last 75% of the season. He misses that field goal. It's not even a question.
Google Gary Anderson
it's the great stuff about sports. We follow. We know our heart's going to get broken or our heart's going to be warm. But it's also unpredictable about things that could happen because you could not predict in that moment that there would be that kind of air when Kim is 30 feet from home plate and the guy going to first base is 55 feet away. You could just not predict that. That's what makes so great about sports. Yeah. Nobody woke up yesterday and said, you know what? I think the Giants are going to dominate. I think the Giants are going to jump out 13-3, and then at the end, they're going to outscore the Eagles 14-0. It's a great thing about sports. It's awesome. And who knows? We're gonna talk ad nauseum about Nebraska, Maryland. All of what we say and all of what you all say may be completely wrong tomorrow.
That is true.
It may be completely wrong, and it might be like a 10-3 game.
There's a promo.
I'll be like, what happened? The weather? No, not the weather.
Right. There are a couple incredible take fives where I preview an NFL game or I preview a Thursday night or a Sunday night game.
Swing and a miss.
Oh my God. Not even close.
Look at the
not
weather.
even remotely close.
Also on the show, Mike Schaefer. That's the lineup brought to you by the rooferys at John Higgins Weather God. Hockey is back in town. The Mavs play tonight over at Baxter Arena. Here's my little PSA.
Okay.
You ready for a little PSA?
Yes.
So it isn't anything about the hockey game. I live across the street from Baxter Arena. For some reason, wait a minute, it's Omaha. Let's resurface streets that were resurfaced maybe a year ago. So Center Street, just outside of Baxter Arena, that runs right by my house, is all torn up again. It is one lane. It's going to be a blank show this weekend trying to get to Baxter Arena. If you're coming in from 60th on Center, there's my PSA. I won't give out, but if you know, you know. Use the back doorway to get into Baxter Arena, because if you're trying to go on Center from 60th all the way to the entrance to Baxter Arena, you're going to be dog cussing. But for some reason, we decided, you know what? Let's just tear up the street because we did it last year.
You told me about the back way, and the way you told it to me that one time was like if it was like a secret deal was going on. Like you got really close and you got really quiet, as if nobody needs to know like what auto parts store you might pass by.
It's not a major secret, but I just try and help people that are trying to get into Baxter Arena and do not want to sit in traffic on Center Street.
You are like the ultimate traffic guy that doesn't do traffic.
That's true. But my traffic here is 60th to the entrance to Baxter Arena on Center is down to one lane, and it's an absolute mess. I don't know. I was coming home from the football game last night. There's cones everywhere. I was like, can I turn left here? I don't care. There's nobody around. I'm just turning left. Next thing I know, the car goes, and I'm like, well, I guess they haven't paved that side of the road yet.
Did I tell you about that one time where I was leaving Central and I went down a one-way and the guy had to be like, brother, turn around. It's a one-way. Then I turned. He goes, good job.
How you doing? You still got it? Out-of-state license plates?
Yeah.
That would have helped you. He would have been like, oh, the guy's just confused. Probably would have helped you if you would have had Nebraska license plates. He would have said,
oh, you think it's the opposite?
It's probably like, I'm just trying to help a guy out.
I thought,
guy that's from out of town doesn't know. And
I think if I was in Wisconsin and I had the Illinois license plate, they would tell me, keep going, brother. You're going the right way. Totally fine. Don't worry. Hey, that stop sign, it's optional too. Don't worry. Just Officer Chad's down to the left. He won't see it. He doesn't care.
Also last night, late last night, while all the sports was wrapping up and the Cubs were shutting out the Brewers, people forget that game was a shutout at Wrigley Field, and the football game was ending. Speaking of Chicago news, Sister Jean passed away at the age of 106. What a life what an incredible life that she lived. For anybody that went to Loyola that interacted with her, I've told the story. Kayla Peterson, who used to work in the Omaha Athletic Department, she was in charge of communications. She is from Chicago. She went back home a couple of years ago to be closer to family.
Yeah.
And she is the director of the communications department for the Ramblers on the athletic side. But one of her job title or job responsibilities the last couple of years has been to kind of work with Sister Jean. And so, Sister Jean hasn't been on campus for a while now.
Yeah.
And that news broke last night. But that's the product of March Madness. You're from Chicago. You probably knew Sister Jean before 18. But that run by the Ramblers in the March Madness, everybody in America got to know who Sister Jean was. And life well lived, 106. She saw the Depression.
Wow.
She saw World War II.
That's crazy.
She saw a man land on the moon.
And the Bears win the
She
Super Bowl.
saw Nebraska football win 5 national championships. And the Cubs win the World Series. That's an incredible life at the age of 106.
She saw every single Chicago Blackhawks Stanley Cup win. That's another great sister. Here's the
That's
funny
low-key
thing.
a cool stat.
Yeah. So I've made this joke a lot. I feel like everybody goes to Loyola Chicago. Like when you're in the Chicagoland area, like that's the graduate school for everybody. Like my mom went to Loyola Chicago. My dad went to Loyola Chicago. So when they made that run, it was cool for everybody because there's not a ton of school pride, but everybody was like, yeah, there's a lot of people who'd gone there and like thought it was dope. So I think that run Loyola Chicago made at the Final Four in 2018 is one of like the cooler Chicago sports moments of like the 21st century. And to see her, and you're right, a lot of people knew of her before all that happened. To see her be pushed,
people outside of Chicago didn't, but
to see her get pushed to the national stage like that and become such a big story was one of the cooler moments.
That's why I would tune in to watch Loyola basketball. I wanted to see where Sister Jean was located, and they would always show her and tell the story. And 106 years old. You guys imagine living to 106?
No,
I mean she was still in. Like she hasn't really been in public for like the last year, but even up to that point, she still had all of her faculties. She could, speak and hear, and she was still greeting the students. She was still going to practice and going to a couple of games. Imagine living to 106.
No, God, no. She was going to like Catholic high schools and making like appearances and saying hi to people like 2 or 3 years ago, and she was always incredibly like spry. For how old she was, I think the amount of stats that you can get from like everything that she lived through in 106 years, I couldn't imagine.
She lived through Tommy Frazier getting robbed of the Heisman, and Ndamukong Suh. Not sure if she was a Nebraska football fan or not, but I'm just going to assume that she is because she likes sports.
Sure.
We hope you like sports. We have a busy show. Football Friday Fiesta. The sports are great. We have lots to discuss. We will talk about the Bananas who are coming. It is the Bananas in Nebraska against the College World Series.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It's fine.
Because actually it's actually the Bananas against Omaha. People outside Omaha don't care about the College World Series. It's our state fair. And we'll invite you if you want to come. We're not going to, block you when you hit, the outlet malls on 80. But what will you do? What will you do in June? College World Series?
That's a great
Day
question.
2 or Memorial Stadium for a once-in-a-lifetime event? And just a little back help here. Get on it does not guarantee you a ticket.
Yeah.
But get on the lottery list immediately.
I think I saw October 31st. I think that was.
Do not wait.
Yeah.
You got 21 days. Plan accordingly. We got a break coming up. We got more. We'll talk a lot about Nebraska and Maryland in the Who is Who weekend in college football. Great slate that we will break down from top to bottom with all of you on this Football Friday Fiesta. Gary, Matt, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Love dogs? Love Halloween? Then join Muddy Paws for the 5th annual Wagoween Boo Bash October 11th at Shadow Lake Town Center. This free event is family-friendly with food, live music by Happy Endings, silent auctions, raffles, face painting, doggy costume contest, and trunk or treat for the kids with the Mustang Car Club. It's October 11th from 12:30 to 5:30 at Shadow Lake Town Center, a benefit for Muddy Paws Second Chance Rescue. It'll be a howlin' good time.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, welcome back again to Football Friday Fiesta. Lots of football, all levels of football, lots of sports. All the sports are going on this weekend. So welcome in. We have lots to discuss. There's Matt, cleanly shaven. Matt dropped about 11 years.
Yeah,
All
what
right.
why?
It's
What
pretty
happened?
cool. My co-host this morning won a auction to come and co-host. His parents bid on it, and so he's in studio this morning. So we're glad to have you in. Thank you very much. Also, thank you for your parents for their charity.
You're always helping the youth of
their
Omaha.
philanthropy. It's a great cause they went to, and we're glad that they won. And now you can kickstart your career.
Gare,
Yeah.
you got to be careful with that because there are people on message boards who think that's an actual thing.
I told you.
They gotta
that you're young.
They gotta no. That the parents are paying over the money for the kid to be on air. So it's just out of all the. I love your jokes. Don't worry. I'm okay with being made fun of and everything like that. That one we got to pull back a little bit because you might be confirming some stories to people on the boards.
So just a side note, let mom know I'm changing the Venmo. Terry writes in. Terry writes into the
You're
Echo.
the worst.
That's a real thing.
But yeah, have you not? There was not that you look at the message boards, but there was. I have a friend. Let's talk about this.
Okay.
I have a friend.
All right.
Who I love him to death.
Loosen the tie.
He's one of my guys. He's one of you only have so many dudes that you can count on one of your hands that you can trust.
Yeah.
He's one of them. But man, he loves going on the message boards. And whenever there's anything negative, right, that might be said about me, he loves taking a screenshot and sending it to me.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say he fights on your behalf.
Like it's not that often. It's not that often, but he loves, like, he'll find it, screenshot, send it to me, then he'll send it into the group chat. I'll be like, dude, like I'm not, Good
morning, Red Sea Scrolls.
I'm trying to feel good about myself. So I'm not trying to feel bad about myself. I got sent one of those where it's like, yeah, people thought
that your parents are paying the station to have you on.
Something like that. Something on another.
Took them that long.
Daddy's connections.
Good on message board crew. Thought it would be sooner that they would figure that out. I mean, we all get. I mean,
they're a smart bunch.
Well, hey, I know. Well,
you guys suck.
I know quite a few people that are regulars on the message board, but they're good contributors. I don't like everything that we say. It's fine. I'm okay with the message board.
They just want to win.
I got no beef with the
you
message
gotta
boards.
have some thick skin there. I mean, you could be accused of being a person that is promoting ice.
What?
Wow. We had
instead of snow. Yeah.
I need to respond to Bill. So Bill is not happy about something that we have no control over, about an ad that is airing. It's an ICE recruiting ad that airs in the stream that is not under our control.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in a roundabout way accused of being somebody that is promoting people signing up for ICE.
In the YouTube stream is what you're talking about. Oh, okay.
No. Well, it's the stream. I imagine the stream. I could be wrong. I haven't heard it. So when I saw this, and you don't, the subject line, which I'll leave out here, you kind of have to go and look at it. You have to go, oh, okay. All right.
Sure.
Yeah. So Bill's a great listener. Bill's a great contributor. Bill's been listening to the station for a long time. Bill was not very happy. So we'll explain it, Bill, privately. But it has nothing to do with the 4 people that host shows on this radio station that you sent that to. Better email. JM writes in. If you didn't see Ty having some good playing time last night, got a big paw up for a third down stop. He did. He looked very, very comfortable. They were missing a key defensive lineman for the Eagles.
Yeah.
But that's a bad loss by Philadelphia.
It's a terrible loss.
They kind of got dominated at the beginning and at the end.
The Giants had
that would be a good. I'm on WIP this morning. Before we tell you about the traffic on the Franklin Bridge, which loss was worse last night, the Phillies or the Eagles?
Eagles.
Yeah, you know what? Ty looks comfortable. He's not like in a starting role.
Yeah,
but they play him in situationals.
He'll, and I think him being in situationals is really good for the beginning of his career. I mean, it's especially in the division they play in with the amount of running the football that the teams that they are regularly playing, minus the Cowboys, but the Giants run the football a ton, the Commanders run the football a ton. Like, I think though with Ty, and I think you and we were on top of this since the Pinstripe Bowl, he was the ultimate plug and play guy in terms of you weren't going to find many day 3 dudes who you can just pick and put in the lineup. He's one of them. I definitely do think though, like the Eagles miss Jalen Carter so much, especially you brought it up, that ending and the game was kind of over and the Eagles were done and it was a 3-possession game, but they still were doing the whole, okay, anything can happen thing. We'll take our timeouts. We'll try and get the ball back and whatnot. and they could not stop the just Scatabo, just boom, 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 just forced it down their throats. And I didn't think I'd be saying this to begin the year, but the Giants might have a better run game right now than the Eagles.
Barkley got off to a good start, and then he kind of petered out. Wait a little bit, because Scatabo had not been like the key running back. Scatabo to me, and it's always cool, like we all follow college football.
Yeah.
And so we're like experts on the third day of the draft when these college players are getting drafted that we saw play and that we know. So like Scatabo is one of those guys like, hey, we watched him play. Some of us watched him play at Sacramento State.
No way. You did? Seriously?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Well, on TV.
That's dope.
Well, I didn't go to.
I thought I put the whole you were in Sacramento for a while.
I went to Ebley, flew out there.
When I think of Sacramento,
I watched him on TV.
I think of when I think of Sacramento, I think of Pejo Stojakovic, and then I think of Gary Sharp.
Arco Arena. What could have happened if the league would not have screwed the Kings back in the day and let the Lakers go to the NBA Finals. But so we watched him at Arizona State. And we're like, yeah. And then you see him like a late round draft pick that's now in the NFL. He is like a combination. Watching him last night, and him and Dart are a nice combo. They're just bros hanging out. He is a combination of Mike Allstott and Rodney Hampton.
Oh, that's great.
That's what he
loved. Rodney.
That is what he is like. But that's awesome. That's a bad loss, and it's also a bad loss for the Eagles because last night also brought in the end. They'll get to do it the rest of the year, but it brought in the end of the tush push. If you didn't already think that it was going to be banned in 26, the fact that the NFL talks about calling false starts and they still don't know how to officiate it.
It's crazy.
It's y'all get a couple of more months of the tush push in because then it will be done because the NFL doesn't know how to officiate. Last night there were false starts, but how about 4 straight tush pushes?
That was crazy.
You think you could?
I rolled my eyes at that, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah? I mean, you think of a strategy of every snap is the tush push.
Okay. I think it would probably work. I don't think they would score a touchdown, but I think they'd get a couple first downs. I think it would have way more success than people would, especially if they're allowed to false start like the way that they do. I just don't like, I liked it as a specialty play. Yeah. I did not like it as a, hey, we're on the 5-yard line. We're set up in this manner where we're going to get a first down. We're going to run it. That's just not football. Like that's when you talk about
rugby.
I know when you talk about people being like, oh, it's not a football play. I'm like, well, it's a novelty play. It's 4th and 1. It's 1 yard. When they did it like that, I was like, man, this is exactly what people like. It irked me. I've been a tush push supporter.
I know you like pushing that tush.
I've always been like, oh, it's not against the rules of football.
Oh.
Like there's nothing in the rule. The rule book has been the rule book forever. There's nothing been against it, right? Why should we change the rules? And then, but to your point, if they're not going to officiate it correctly, and then they're going to do that and then make it look like rugby, then I don't want it.
A couple of tweets here to wrap up the first hour of Football Friday Fiesta. We're going to go Brett Ciancia and Lee Sterling back to back. Lee, by the way, went 4-1 last week. So Paramount Sports is a good place for y'all to be. Flaky Jake. We might have to have the fact checkers of the show.
Okay.
Nirvana was a big influence on The Who. The Who might not have become the band it wasn't for Nirvana.
No, that's
absolutely.
True. Yeah. There was a great video
before Nirvana.
No. So no.
He's rolling.
Nirvana was inspired by The Who.
He says Nirvana was a big influence on The Who.
Yeah.
Maybe he just had
Roger Daltrey loves Kurt Cobain.
I think The Who went before Cobain. I could be wrong.
We'll check.
So there were a lot of things that I was doing in the 80s, but I think it's just the other way.
This is actually a great video. You should look it up. David Grohl talked about how disco was an incredible inspiration to Nirvana. Like Nirvana got a lot of their drumming beats and a lot of their like just intro songs and stuff from disco. Like do.
Well, you know what killed the radio?
Video.
Video killed the radio. That's actually true today. Like probably more people watch this station on TV than they do over the air. So it's true. Video has killed the radio. Run with that, kids.
Wasn't there that video killed? Okay, yeah.
I just had to make sure. That one of the first.
It was the first.
The first video on MTV.
They used to show videos in MTV.
Was Cindy?
She was in there later.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll set this one out, guys.
Steve says, Bruin Steve. By the way, I think this is a little bold proclamation about the NHL. I think the Minnesota Wild are going to go 82-0, and I think they'll have a goal differential of plus 410. Just judging off last night's 5-0 blanking of St. Louis. Bruin Steve says, my grandmother lived to 103. The events she lived through were truly amazing.
That's insane. I think of that and I'm like, wow, Sister Jean would have been 65 during the Bears Super Bowl. Like, and then she lived a whole life after that.
Think she was down
Soldier
on
Field.
Michigan Avenue celebrating?
Without a doubt.
Wilbur Marshall picks up that ball.
Do you think she went to all the parades?
I think she gave the team blessing beforehand, if I had to guess.
Grant Park in the 90s.
Which, by the way, Bruin Steve tweets in, shout out the Clarkson Golden Knights yesterday, who played the number 4 Penn State Nittany Lions on the road, ended up beating number 4 Penn State 6-4. And an absolute incredible thriller and a hell of a third period. For the
there's
Knights.
Western Michigan lost last night.
Who won that Minnesota Boston College?
Minnesota got beat last night.
Wow.
Yeah, the tops in college hockey got beat last night. Do you also think that of all the things that Sister Jean lived through,
sure,
she also may have been at Wrigley Field when they tried to bring the GOAT in? She lived through the Chicago fire as well. She just missed the Chicago fire.
No, I think she just missed it. Because I think that was
it's an incredible life, well lived. And thank you to March Madness because it introduced the world to Sister Jean. If that doesn't happen, we really unless you're live in Chicago, you go to school there, you don't know who Sister Jean is. So that's one of the things.
No wonder they're expanding.
That is one of the things that Porter Mosier contributed to the world. Is that his basketball success in 2018 opened the world to Sister Jean. And people got to tell her stories, and Seth Davis got really creepy.
Yeah, with didn't he wish her a happy birthday or something like that?
Very odd.
Yeah. Now, on Porter Mosier's resume, right, does he made Sister Jean a national sensation on there?
It might be the other way around if you're looking to get a little, couple of points with the man upstairs.
Sure.
All right.
Maybe.
Yeah, all right. We will dive into Nebraska, Maryland. Got a good question about Nebraska. Think about this during the break.
Okay.
Because, we've had an interesting week. We've had some positivity. We had some negativity. We've had some, does Nebraska feel like a 4-1 team as they go on the road for the first Big Ten road game of the year? Do they feel like a 4-1 team? And then you go, Sharpie, what is a 4-1 team supposed to feel like? That's why I asked the question. Think about it. We're going to give you some time to chew on that as we come back for hour number 2 on a Football Friday Fiesta of Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. All right, good morning, everybody. It is hour number 2 of Football Friday Fiesta. Have a good weekend of sports. Game 5, Brewers, Cubs. How you feeling? How you feeling, Brewer fans? We're coming to your house. We're going to take over. Last year, Pete Alonso, that was a great home run. That was sad for the Brewers. You know what? I will say this. I'd love to win on Saturday night. I might even go streaking. We would be streaking.
It's going to be a warm weekend.
That would be 3 straight wins.
Yes, it would be.
Hey, when the Cubs are facing elimination, somehow they find a way to stave off elimination. Why can't we, you know what? Why can't we start earlier instead of when
Cardiac
our backs
Cubs.
are against the wall? But game 5 will be on Saturday night. Full weekend of NFL, NBA, NHL, high school football tonight.
The NBA, we're not counting yet.
Did you see Wallace's shot last night?
I did not. I am not
Hello.
watching one iota
Hello.
of NBA preseason basketball. You're a sicko. You're crazy.
I just watched a lot of sports. I couldn't sleep. I got home from the game last night, and I was watching the end of the Cubs game, and I couldn't sleep. And
That
so
sucks.
I was sitting on the couch, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just go on a tour of my TV. I'm a cable guy. I've not cut the cord yet.
That is crazy, too.
So in one part of my house, I still have cable, and I have a lot of the sports
Sure.
channels. So yeah, I went on a tour. I had the Amazon game on as that was coming to an end, and
I get it. You got to wind down after all.
How was Tulane football? Did you catch any of that?
you know what? I expect them to play a little bit better, but they won.
Yeah.
So they're in that mix for the group of 5.
Roll wave.
ODU, Old Dominion,
Yeah.
looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Remember, I told you guys about that when when Indiana beat them by 14, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Indiana only beat ODU by 14. They shouldn't be ranked." I'm like, "You guys don't know Sun Belt football."
Yeah. Hey, isn't it ironic
Belt.
that we brought up yesterday the last time Nebraska and Maryland played,
God,
and the quarterbacks that played in that game for Nebraska for the 6th straight year? Jeff Sims is going to take a snap and start a game in college.
that's crazy.
As Mr. Levitt is out for Arizona State. Key game.
He's
Utah.
still there?
Yeah, he is
Wow.
still there. But so is Jeff Sims.
No. I meant Jeff Sims is still.
Oh, yeah. Jeff Sims is still Georgia Tech, Nebraska, Arizona State. That's a nice little 3-school parlay.
Oh,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great
you know
experience.
What? Hey, you get a good engineering school.
Yes.
You get to come to the Harvard of the Midwest, and then you get to go and be on Mill Avenue down in Tempe. That's a good life that Jeff Sims has lived. He'll start this weekend. But remember, you also had in that game Chubba Purdy, who statistically is the worst quarterback in America right now.
Yeah, he's making Spencer Petras look
And
good,
then you
which
have
is
a guy
something.
that is not even playing quarterback full-time anymore in Harburg. Those were your 3 quarterbacks in that game. How far has the Nebraska quarterback room come since 2023 when they last played Maryland on that date? Let me get the exact date for that game. It was November 11th, 2023. Now fast forward to October 10th, 2025. Quarterback room in Nebraska looks a little bit different.
But you can make a spin zone to be like, look how deep that room was. All 3 quarterbacks are still playing at the Power 5 level. Wow.
Hey,
What a job.
it's actually I say this with all love in the world.
Yeah.
Is that thank God Jeff Sims sucked at Nebraska. Because if Jeff Sims was good and manageable and you would have brought him back for another year,
Oh, God.
Dylan's probably in Athens
Well, yeah. I mean,
because he wanted to come here and start.
Sure.
So you already had Jeff Sims. So thank you, Jeff Sims,
In the crazy.
for not being very good. Sorry to say it, but you get an opportunity this weekend to pull an upset as a 5.5-point underdog for Arizona State against Utah.
What if they played Northern Illinois and North Dakota before they played Minnesota and Colorado? Maybe Jeff Sims ends up being great. Maybe he sees the ball go through the hoop, he gains a ton of confidence, and then the Huskers go 8-4 that year.
What if I was 6'4"?
Yeah, see, I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
if my grandmother had a wheel, she'd be my grandfather, or she'd be a bike. I botched that.
That how that goes?
Yeah, it was like a little dribbler that he beat out.
Right. I
He
just
beat
knew
the
something
throw
about
first.
aunts and uncles. And
All right, back to Terry's email that got interrupted by message board talk.
My bad.
Hi, guys. Hi, Terry. I think all emails should be vocal. Not vocal in terms of what you're complaining about, Bill. Bill not happy. Bill not happy. Are more people, I should ask people in the stream, are they aware of the ad that is airing that we don't
I have no
we don't have
clue.
control over?
Yeah, no, zero.
Yeah. And I am not out there trying to sign people up to be part of the ICE group. Okay?
Neither am I.
Yeah, I will not do that at the high school game tonight.
I just show up today.
You know
to
what?
see you with
Hey,
a couple
I got so many other things that I'm doing. I don't have time for that. All right. Hi guys. I'm encouraged. That'd be great if just the email just stopped there.
Period.
I'm like, hey Terry, good job. You got up this morning. We all did. God bless us. Last night's performance reminded me of June Cubs. They were the best team in baseball. Hoping they've awoken from their summer slumber, Ben Maller said the Brewers' offense looked like a clogged toilet. Indeed. Yeah.
Nice. You need to work that into the game tonight.
No. I will not. I will not doing that. I will not.
I can work it in tonight.
There you go.
Save it for radio. We will not be using that on TV. But so a step further on the Cubs winning last night, because if you've not heard, you missed the first hour. Remember the last time that they had 3 wins when they were facing elimination?
Yeah, they won the 2016 World Series.
Yes.
What?
I don't know that there's magic there, and I will be on record. I really like this team. They're like likable guys. I have some issues with Counsell. I'll discuss those with him in the offseason when I go to the Cubs convention.
Yeah.
They've done enough for me. I'd love for them to win Saturday night, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a challenge. But just getting it back to Milwaukee, this team has done enough for me, and everything else after this, we're just playing with house money. That's how I'm going to look at it. I'm sorry if that ticks some people off, but this team came home. They won 2 games. They got it back to Milwaukee.
I know.
They've done enough for me, because if this team was all in, the general manager would have said, you know what, we'll give up some prospects because we think this team can win the World Series. They're likable. They've done enough. They've got it to Game 5 when it looked bleak. I'm okay with that. House money, I will be enjoying. I'll be nice and free. I'll be like the things that their promotions of, that they have the motors going and the little things that wave their arms around.
You mean
I'll be like that.
The things that are in front of the used car sales places?
Yes. So I'll have a little tension convention Saturday night, but they've done enough for me to get it back to Milwaukee.
Okay.
Thank you, Chicago Cubs.
But and your line,
I can't play the butt game.
Your line,
I'm already on record here.
Wait. Your line of thinking is more than likely correct. Okay, they do not have the arms, the starting arms in particular.
Please don't start Show.
Okay,
please don't start him.
They don't.
Colin Ray.
Oh, if they start him,
we're
done.
I'd love for him to be Cade Horton, but they'd have to drop somebody. But
they don't have the arms to win the World Series. The starting arms to win the World Series. We know that. But wouldn't you like them to be magical? Like now they got me. Like now that they had me. They had me.
I like this team, and as kind of things unfolded and what you said about their pitching.
Just don't lose like the Phillies lost last night, and you're good. Even if they lose.
Now that'd be tough. That'd be a little rough, or get just railroaded.
That too.
Like you get blown out in Milwaukee. Because here's the thing about this series, and Cardinal fans. I mean, your 22 playoff highlights are still running, and it's good to watch those. But now we're in 2025. Is the booing of the Brewers at Wrigley Field shows me how much we respect the Brewers.
Oh God,
and how the Brewers are starting to inch into Cardinal territory in terms of a rival. I kind of like it. Right. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the Brewers. I said that earlier in the week, but I think it's a sign of respect that the Brewers draw some boos.
I think I've told you this before. Ever since the Brewers beat the Cubs in 2018 on that 163rd game, I felt like that was the kerosene on the Brewers-Cubs rivalry, where it was like it was kind of like, all right, Milwaukee, Chicago, you're very close, Wrigley North, all that stuff. But then when they started winning games and started being like a legitimate contender year in and year out, there were a lot of young people like me who were like, I actually am starting to hate the Brewers more than I hate the Cardinals. And I think I'm even right
Can't
now.
get there because I have a deep-rooted passion for hating the Cardinals. But we're getting kind of close. What would you rather know? Combining your two passions.
Okay.
What Nebraska's first play offensively is tomorrow, or what the first inning is going to look like Saturday night.
What the first inning is going to look like Saturday.
Cubs are a weird team, man. At least last night they scored after the first inning.
Yeah.
But they've been good in the first inning. I just hope it's not a one-off where King Tuck and Hap look good at the plate and they haven't looked great, and then Michael Busch keeps doing Michael Busch stuff.
Our guy
Thank you, Dodgers.
Our guy Yurko read a poem for Ian Happ on the air yesterday, and it ended up being great. The Greek god of lumber, awoken from his slumber, much aligned and much chagrined. Number 8 always steps in.
I like that.
It's incredible.
That's good.
Incredible job.
Happ probably needs to go. But I was glad that he got a big hit last night.
Why? He's a Cub. Wait, can we have this? I know.
There's a lot of Cubs. They can move on.
But you're
I'm trying to win a World Series.
Okay, so that's
I'm trying to win when you play in October.
Emotional, smart. Emotional, smart. Baseball guy, Cub guy. Very different. Once again, like I'm in the Senate when it comes to football, I'll give my allotted time to you. But at the same time, they go like I'll yield my time.
Sports.
I'll yield my time to you. But in this case, he's like, man, he's been a Cub for so long. Like, I don't want to see him in a different uniform. I don't want to see him playing for the Diamondbacks. I don't want to see him playing for the Rangers. If he's an average bat and he's a good glove, he could be a Cub.
Okay.
I like Ian.
Yeah. Okay.
He's been a part of the threads that are the Cubs.
Sometimes you got to break up with people.
I don't like that.
Well, you're going to learn some harsh lessons. Just make sure you have a good attorney. All right. Before we take a break here, and Random Mike is going to be on the other side. I asked this going into the break. So Nebraska, Maryland play. They're both 4-1.
Yeah.
Different schedules they played, right?
Yeah.
Nebraska's played Michigan and Michigan State in the Big Ten. Maryland has played Wisconsin and Washington in the Big Ten. But let's just focus on Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Big 2-game stretch here in less than a week. Does Nebraska feel like a 4-1 team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do. I think there could be a qualifier of they played 2 non-con games, but everybody else has played 2 non-con games, right? So I would say yes, they're a 4-1.
Yeah. And this is like not a negative to lead down a path or anything. It's just, it's going to be, tomorrow is, to me, if Nebraska is a good team, they find a way to win this game. Okay, a good team that goes on the road. Okay, goes on the road, a little bit peculiar. First time since camp started back in August, they're back-to-back nights. They're not on campus because they're stayed overnight last night in Maryland. They're staying overnight tonight. They won't play until 3:30 local time tomorrow. If Nebraska is the team that we think they can be, if you're a good team, you find a way, regardless of how it looks, to win tomorrow a road game against Maryland where you're not just like a pick 'em or a field goal favorite.
Sure.
You're a little bit more than that. And part of do they feel like a 4-1 team? We're about ready to build the trust tree. We trust Dana. We trust Eckler. You trust Butler. You should.
Like, don't hurt me.
The man knows coverages. Do you trust this football team? Like, tomorrow's a good trust day.
I think that these next couple of weeks will definitely be if you've believed in Matt Rule and his words, he'll have an opportunity to finally prove that your belief was put in the right hands.
I think this is I know the who is who weekend. It's kind of a little program game. A little bit odd going out to play Maryland. If Nebraska's a good team, they find a way to win tomorrow. I don't care if it's 21-20.
Yeah.
And there's a missed extra point or whatever, but they find a way to win these kind of games.
Program game. I like that. I like that a lot.
Quick break. A little bit later in the hour. Brett Ciancia. And feel bad. I'll try to avoid not bringing it up.
No, you won't.
Let's talk about
They won the Super Bowl.
Talk about the Flyers.
He's fine.
You're definitely not going to. You were definitely going to bring it up.
He was a little down. Hey, we're on to the Red River rivalry, according to Brett.
You should just say, hey, you won't get your heart broken anymore.
Wow. You just go for the jugular. Lee Sterling as well will join us back-to-back in a Football Friday Fiesta, hour number 2 on 1620 The Zone. All right, tomorrow, Nebraska, Maryland, 2:30 kickoff, Big Red Overreaction with John Bishop and yours truly. Immediately following the show, make sure you get in early because the Cubs are playing a pivotal NLDS game.
You're
it starts at 7:08.
This one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, we only have so much control over the vibe of Big Red Overreaction. That's on Dylan and the boys who are out on the East Coast.
Or the callers.
Well, I mean, if they win, they'll be like excited. And they're like, hey, I get it. You guys are Cubs fans. I just want to say hello. Great show. Love you. Bye. Where's the Michigan State fan?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it'll be. But if Dylan and the boys don't take, they don't do work.
Buckle up.
Then it'll be like, I told you. I'm like, yeah, you did. Now I got to go to Minnesota. We go to Random Mike on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. All right, Mike.
I don't know if you remember my last call. Oh, ye of little faith.
I always do. Yeah, okay, I'll own it, but it was kind of bleak. It was kind of bleak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
Tomorrow is such a big day for the Cubs and the Huskers. You know, Tom Osborne years ago said, they say I don't win the big games, but if I start losing these little games, they'll become big games. Have you noticed how many big games in football there have been the last few years?
Yeah, you become James Franklin. You lose the non-big games.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Cubs, I'm with you, Gary. What happens tomorrow, not the end of the world. It's been fun. But, hey, what great signs yesterday with Hap, the king, looking like the king,
King
offensively.
Tuck. Yeah.
And let me tell you something. Shaw, he had a big hit, and he's been looking horrible offensively in this.
He had two yesterday. I hope that this is not last night being a one-off, that maybe it's, you can do back-to-back. But you're right. Shaw has struggled to the plate, but it was encouraging for him to get two hits and then the late knock that drove in a run.
Matty, you talk about starting pitching and how important it is in the World Series. It's not necessary. Milwaukee, you can make a case that they're the best team in baseball this year. Right?
But that's over a 162 game stretch, Mike. Like, I think when you get to the World Series, you need to have at least one guy, just one absolute flamethrower, a top end arm. You need a Verlander or a Greinke or a guy like, maybe not as good of an example, but John Lester, who is absolutely lights out in the playoffs, and that you could give him the ball and he can go 6 to 7 innings. I just think that with the Cubs, they don't have that.
Hey, Horton would be back, would he not?
Sure.
Well, yes, you'd have to drop somebody, and then they would be off the NLCS roster.
But even after, do you trust Shota? Do you trust Shota after what you've seen from him at the end of the regular season and the playoffs?
They might have to go with the bullpen game, but I wouldn't pitch Show back up there after what he did in game 2.
You can make a case that you really can't trust just about anybody. Yet they, like with Boyd, who was fantastic earlier, been struggling, but he was really good. So what did you get? 4 2/3 innings. But here's my point: the Cubs are a sensational defensive team, and a lot of times you can look at a line and say, "Boy, the pitcher did great," but there were some really hard hit balls that were fantastic defensive plays.
Yeah.
That game was at game 3. The last play of the game, Horner made a really nice play. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. And if you...
That's a hit. That's a hit. I believe in most situations. He's a fantastic... And, I talked about the split step, and they get great jumps. They're as fast a team as the Cubs maybe have ever been, They're what I'm saying is great defense makes the pitching look a lot better. Keep it in the park. Don't give up home runs. Don't walk people. And you can have... And they got a bunch of good relievers, not great, but good. So what I'm saying is anything is possible. But what a big game for the Huskers, and we both agree these coordinators are huge in terms of how good the Huskers can be.
Yes, I agree. Mike, thanks for the phone call. Look forward to a chat on Monday.
I have a weird question for you. Would you, if the Cubs end up winning Game 5 to go to the NLCS, would that make you even more frustrated about how they handled the deadline?
No. Remember what I said. They've done enough for me. Anything after this is just, hey, thank you for being a loyal fan. and as a kid being part of the Chicago Cub diehard fan club, where I got a credit card that I put in my wallet, my first wallet I ever had, that was signed by Jack Brickhouse. That's what it is.
But there's not a part of you that is like, that wouldn't get a little bit pissed off if a team that they did absolutely nothing with at the deadline, that they didn't trade for a starter, they didn't go all in. They said that they're managing the 2032 Cubs right now. That wouldn't irk you a little bit?
No, they're flawed. They're flawed. I mean, Jed looked at the roster and he said, you know what? I'm not going to give up prospects because we don't have enough to make a run to go to the World Series. You know, what happens next year? I mean, they have some decisions to make. You know, Kyle Tucker's home run last night was his first postseason home run.
Ever?
First since September 2nd.
My Lord. I don't know.
Postseason home run for the Cubs.
I was about to say. I know what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. At the same time, they won 92 games. Games. How could you sit there as a general manager and have a team that you built win 92 games?
That was 2 months ago. I can't worry about it now. I can just worry about, you know what? The great thing about sports is it's very unpredictable, and it is game by game. Sometimes you hit a comebacker back to the mound, and they throw it away when they have an obvious out. And they could have gone to the 12th inning, and then the Dodgers would have really been screwed because of their bullpen. You never know. You never know.
You know, I'm telling you, it's ironic that guy, that pitcher, his whole life he's been throwing to home plate. He's just been on a mound throwing to home plate, and he got about 30 feet closer to home plate. And all he had to do was just throw it like he's done hundreds of thousands of times in his life before.
He'll be attached to Alex Gonzalez in 2003. We'll talk about the Bartman. No, Bartman field that ball at shortstop. You turn the double play. You're out of the inning.
Thank you.
Bill Buckner, of course, 86, and then Jim Joyce on the Galarraga perfect game where he made a terrible call at first base. There's also Lonnie Smith with the Atlanta Braves in the '91 World Series. Babe Ruth got picked off first base as well.
Does not to the same
all these
effect.
gaffes that are going to be a part of history is Philadelphia is on that list now.
Do Yankees fan talk about the Rizzo play from last World Series? Remember I'm talking about where he doesn't run out to first base, like he fields it real lazily. They got really mad at him about that.
Well, Yankee fans should be mad at everything. Entitled fan base.
Yankees lose.
Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews stops by next. A good slate. The SEC and the Big Ten, where we have Dave Portnoy and Cam Newton fighting against each other. Those two conferences have big weekends. We'll dive into them all with Brett coming up next. All right, here we go. Week number 7 in college football. The college football races are still in the nascent stages, but we're going to have some key questions that are going to be answered. We welcome in our good friend, Pick Six Previews, Brett Ciancia. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. And, I'm shocked the sun rose this morning out here because the sky is falling in Philly sports. Really a tough 2-week stretch, but anyway, we survived. We're alive.
Did you just get off of your 5-minute call with WIP?
Oh my gosh! I'm happy to be on in Omaha today because over there it's going to be negative for the next week and a half or so. It's going to be nasty over there, so I'm glad to be with you guys instead.
All right. I told the story that I would go and get on hold on that fine radio station, and when they went to me, I'd go, I got a Sixers question.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Yep.
I feel for you. You love your hometown teams, and we won't talk about that. We both, all of us, share a love of college football. This is a really, really good slate.
Yes.
Like, if you look at the Big Ten, they have some teams that are going on the road against quality opponents. The Big 12 has some balanced madness. The SEC has some teams that are going on the road. And if I'm looking at the spreads or any indication, Brett, we could see a handful of top 25 teams lose. I think this is a buckle-up weekend for college football.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like your term there. And, there's 3 teams at home that are now underdogs. 3 ranked teams that are underdogs against unranked teams. And that's a rare stat there. So there have only been 3 the entire remainder of the season so far. So, yeah, a lot of conference races are going to start to crystallize a little bit. I just caught this one where it could be a conference elimination game. There's big quarterback news, and I'm not talking about Oklahoma, Texas. You have Sam Levitt now listed as doubtful at Arizona State. That line has ballooned to Utah -8 in a really pivotal matchup. So, all over this map, you got a huge game.
Yeah, that's I don't know if like Arizona State is the poster child for a pretty balanced and competitive conference. Utah hasn't had a close game yet. Let's just start right there in that key game. A win by Utah, even though they have that loss to Texas Tech that you can't get out of your mind, it would almost put Utah back like squarely in the race in the Big 12.
Yeah, it definitely would. I think Texas Tech has distanced themselves at number 1. That race for second is really between, to me, Arizona State, Utah, these 2 teams playing, and also through a TCU in there. So for Utah to win this one, if they were able to, that would be huge for positioning. I think they'd be on an inside track to the title game. And they're really strong at home, especially at night. That place gets crazy. I like their offensive line. Their defense has been solid in Morgan Stanley. But now, that really shocked me because Arizona State's coming off a bye, and there was no reference of him being injured at all. He was probable on all the injury reports up until last night. They flipped him to doubtful, and that was shocking. And, reporters that were down there said that he took all the number 1 reps all week and all over the bye week. So, enter Jeff Sims, a familiar name. I can't believe he's still in college, but he's going to get the start for Arizona State.
Yeah, neither can we. So Gary has nicknamed this slate the Who's Who slate. I've nicknamed it the Battleground slate because we're going to find out a lot of interesting things about a lot of interesting teams. I think the game that I'm most intrigued by, and this might surprise you, Brett, I cannot wait for this Missouri-Alabama game. I think it is such an interesting matchup. Bo Pribula has been playing out of his mind. Ahmad Hardy has also been really, really good. The last time Alabama played a team that had a kind of similar makeup was Florida State, where they kind of got bullied during that game, but they've definitely improved. And Ty Simpson is looking like the 5-star that we've been waiting for him to look like at Columbia. I mean, how are you looking at this one, Brett?
Yeah, well, there's a different parts of their schedule where with Missouri, they're still looking for that big signature ranked win. And this would be not only a signature win for 2025, but this would really be Eli Drinkowitz's signature victory. I think getting them to 6-0 with a win at home over Alabama would be massive. On the other side, Alabama, just another week for them because you look at their 4-week span. They had the big win over Georgia, top 5 recruiter, blue blood team. Then a revenge win over Vandy. And then next week, if you look ahead, they got the cigar game with Tennessee. So really a tough 4-week span in the middle of. I know they'll get up for it as a ranked opponent, but still, that's a grind. Missouri, a tough place to play. They're 17-1 the last 3 years. It's second only to Oregon, who's undefeated. So tough place to go play. You mentioned it with Mueller at quarterback and two really physical runners there with Roberts and Matt Hardy. I still like Alabama. After all that said, I think the Missouri hype is getting a little high. I mean, I hear people saying how they're calling it not even an upset if Missouri wins. That's crazy. Alabama's still Alabama. I'm going to take the Tide here. It will be close, but I'm going to go Alabama.
So let's stay in the SEC and, of course, the Red River rivalry. There are 6.9 billion people that live on this wonderful earth that know a world where Oklahoma has more victories in college football than Texas. There's only 8.2 billion people on earth. So with that said, it has some intrigue. You mentioned the Mateer. Looks like he's going to play. For a rare time, Oklahoma gets good positive news as the week goes along in the injury report. Texas is in a free fall, but back to what we started with, Longhorns were a favorite. It is flipped because Mateer is going to play. But what I'm looking at in this game, Texas is struggling defensively. Oklahoma is the dog pound. Man, Venables has got him playing well. The total is really low. So fans of defense, get ready for this game. Is that what we're feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that might change a little bit with Mateer, but originally talking about this team without Mateer earlier in the week, you're looking at two really broken offenses and two really strong defenses. But to your point, Texas' defense was exposed a little bit against Florida. They had all those five-star receivers and a great pass game. I don't know that Oklahoma has the five-star talent at receiver that Florida and Ohio State have. The two losses for Texas. But now that we fast forward a few days and get some injury reports in, and Mateer is playing, that's a huge difference. The step up from Hawkins to Mateer is game changing. So now when you look at it, you do have a pretty dynamic offense with Oklahoma with Mateer. I'll take them. I think Oklahoma's defense could be one of the best in the country. It's stronger than Texas is. So, and basically a pick 'em in a 50-50 stadium with Mateer playing, that's the key. Then I'll go Oklahoma.
So the matchup of the week, I think, in the Big Ten, Indiana takes on Oregon in Eugene. And you could talk about the playoffs and how this might affect the playoffs, Brett, in terms of how much Indiana might end up winning by or end up losing by and all that stuff. But also some key injury news here. D'Angelo Pons, one of the best quarterbacks, not only in the Big Ten, but for Indiana, questionable here, may or may not play, going to be a game time decision. This Indiana defense, their expected points against the pass has been really, really good. But when you lose a guy like Pons, I mean, that could definitely flip the game on its head, especially with a fast wide receiver core like Oregon.
Yeah, that's huge. Look at Indiana. They have 3 All-Americans on defense last year, all 3 returned, one of them being Pons. So, yeah, you're talking star power going there. But I think you have strength versus strength in this game. I don't really find any statistical weakness when you look at both their stat profiles. Really two perfect teams so far. So, I mean, I'll go Oregon here at home. I think it might get closer than 7.5. I think it's going to be a toss-up game with Oregon winning close. In terms of playoff outlook, it's important for Indiana to get one of these. They got to beat either Oregon or Penn State. I don't know that a 10-2 without any major win gets in this time. And you're right about margin, because even 11-1, if their one loss is a blowout, that might hurt too. So I think they will. I think they'll keep it competitive, but keep an eye on that. Who would have thought Oregon, Indiana, the game of the week, but Indiana really is impressing. They continue to surge under Chris Ignetti.
Yeah, but they got to still prove something, because I still have the memory of 38-15 in Columbus. And then the playoff game, I know they only lost by 10, but with about 2 minutes to go, it was 27-3.
Yeah.
So important for them out there. Let's stay in the conference, because I look at the game, that's where Big Noon is going to be in Champaign. And Illinois, they knocked off USC, but they also got blown out by Indiana. Ohio State rolls in town. They are favored by more than 2 touchdowns. The defense has given up 2 touchdowns all season long. I mean, it's historic what Matt Patricia's defense is doing. Man, I still see 53. I know it's Champaign. What is the risk level or danger level of Ohio State losing this game tomorrow?
I don't see it. I think you have with Ohio State a powerhouse that's cruise control right now, and suffocate the opponent. And then on offense, they're not really taking any risks. They don't have to. They're just continuing to pass. And also, against Minnesota, they did start to open up the vertical pass game a little bit. They really eased in Julian Sand, and you're starting to see it. They hit on a couple big throws, 4 throws over 30 yards last week. So they're not flashing that. That becomes a really dynamic offense when you bring in the vertical passing. So I think they're going to flex on Illinois. one angle for Illinois here is they're one of only 4 Power 5 teams so far that haven't had a bye. Calendar year where you get 2 bye weeks. Everyone's had one by now, and they're going on their 7th straight game. They got to come in exhausted. You mentioned the Indiana loss, rivalry games against Purdue. USC was a traumatic finish for them. They got to come in gassed. I'll take Ohio State here big.
When we nicknamed it the Battleground Slate, I immediately thought of this matchup here in Southern California, number 15, the Michigan Wolverines. This is one of the games you talked about, Brett, as a ranked team playing an unranked team, being an underdog. They're a +2.5 dog in this game. Is this the loser goes home, loser leaves town, loser ends up not making the playoffs to you?
I think so, because if you look at their schedules laying ahead, Michigan still has Ohio State on there. UNC has Notre Dame, and I think Oregon. So they have plenty of hurdles after this. Yeah, I think that this is, if you're looking for the teams who's going to try and get forward in the playoff, I think the winner of this positions himself as that team, potentially. So, yeah, it's a big spot. And this is one of those, I'm calling it man versus machine, because, my game grader says USC by 7. I disagree there. I don't see it. USC, to me, they have to go prove themselves. They lost some trust for me when they got out-controlled against Illinois. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't do anything defensively to stop Illinois. And I think Michigan's a similar, if not stronger, Illinois team. Their offensive line, their power running back there. And the emergence of big receiver Donovan McCulley last week, that started to change my opinion on Michigan's offense, because now you have a threat on the outside that can win in the red zone. So, numbers say USC big, but just watching all these teams, I think Michigan wins it down there.
Hey, a side note, and they play. I mean, the people will pay attention because they're playing Northwestern, and James Franklin would like to go 1-0. I don't think Penn State moves on from James Franklin. I think the only way that he's not back next year is he gets poached. They poach the coach. But you live on that part of the country. You hear from a lot of Penn State fans. Your friends are Penn State fans. Where is Penn State football at, in your opinion, after what happened in the Rose Bowl, and what is ahead with a game against Indiana, Ohio State looming?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't think I've seen the morale this low on Penn State football since maybe the sanctions back about 10, 12 years ago when they got hit with the NCAA hammer. This is really low down here, low spirits. After the Oregon loss, it was, they were thinking, all right, you have a mulligan loss and we can rebound. It was close. It was one about actually threw Alice on an interception, and you're talking like a play here and there. But then this week, this is a whole new beast, because Allen actually played well. And you're saying, where's this NFL defense? Where's this big, strong offensive line? Where are these 5-star running backs? You cannot lose that game to UCLA. That was like an App State type moment for them. So their morale is the lowest I've seen in a decade. And they might take out some frustrations on Northwestern, but that's just not gonna get it done. The only way to save this thing, it would be to go beat Ohio State in a couple weeks, and then even then they still have to make the playoff as a 10-2. It'd be tough. So it's pretty poor out here.
Hey, don't overlook the Cats, Brett. Caleb Kamalafe looks really good. I mean, he's been running the ball really, really well. Looked great against ULM. Looked really good against UCLA. Just throwing it out there. Remember the name. Hey, probably be running for a better team next year.
Yeah, if UCLA put up 42 on Penn State, I mean, Northwestern might get to the 50 spot. We'll see.
Exactly. Hey, so somebody told this to me yesterday, and I couldn't believe it, but they were like, hey, we're almost halfway through the college football season, which was absolutely wild for me to hear, because it feels like it's just started. And in a way it has, because conference plays when it really, really gets going. But through 5-6 games, however many, teams have played, using your game grader, which is an incredible apparatus, which you use, is there a team that you think we're not talking about enough? Is there a team that, we're giving a ton of hype to the Alabamas and a lot of hype to the Miamis, but is there a couple sleeper teams that you want to give a little love?
Yeah, go down to the Longhorn State here, and not the Longhorns. I think Texas Tech and Texas A&M, these are really complete teams. First with Texas Tech, of course, they had the big transfer haul, all that oil money. They put together this great roster. They are dominant so far, 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread, which is rare. And all 5 of their wins are by 24-plus points, all by 200-plus yardage margins. Just dominant play. And in a winnable conference, I think they're a lock for the playoffs at this point. They look really dynamic. And then A&M, I put out my top 5 on Twitter. I think number 6 would be A&M. I think they're right there The questions coming into the season for them was how would Marcel Reed play at quarterback, a new full-time starter. He's been dynamic. He's been awesome. Great transfer receivers with Concepcion and Craver. And then you got an Elko defense in its second year. So manageable schedule coming up too, just like Texas Tech. I think these are two playoff teams down there, not getting much attention.
All right, we come to this. I feel like I now should go into Reese Davis mode. Tomorrow in College Park. Nebraska actually flew out yesterday, Brett. They're going to spend 2 nights in Maryland before playing at 3:30 Eastern time tomorrow. Maryland's 4-1. They could have been 5-0. They had a meltdown in the fourth quarter. Loxley is not great in October and November. They're trying to show that it's not a fluke. They've got some good young talent. They have a little bit of optimism. There'll be a lot of red in the stadium. Nebraska's 4-1. They're trying to pick up some momentum. How does tomorrow at Turtles Power Stadium work? Does Nebraska go to 5-1, or does Maryland go to 5-1?
Yeah, well, I think Nebraska gets to 5-1. We'll start there, and with Maryland, I wasn't so sure about them. They looked like one of those ranked teams. Undefeated teams that haven't played anybody yet, but they did impress with what they did to Washington. They led 20-3 heading into the fourth quarter, and holding Washington to 3 points in 3 quarters is really impressive. Now they did blow it, giving up a 24-0 fourth quarter, but I still came away impressed with their teams in a way. So everyone looks at the quarterback from Maryland, and he's really, really good in his freshman year. It was a local product from the DMV area, but I think the defense is getting overlooked a little bit. They're pretty strong statistically, and held Washington below their averages. So Nebraska's going to have to bring their A game. I do think they will. I like Dylan Raiola, his passing attack. The run game with Emmett Johnson, he's a strong runner. The pass defense for Nebraska really flies off the page statistically, and when you watch them play, they still, I think, have allowed a 30-yard pass play or something like that. So I think Nebraska comes in here, gets it done. The touchdown's fair to me. I do have it -7 for Nebraska. Let's see Nebraska get to 5-1 out here.
All right. By the way, as we tell you every week, and another addition to everybody that's part of the Pick Six family, the Pick Six Plus that comes out on Tuesday into your email if you are a subscriber. Great stuff, my friend. That is a fantastic addition to everything else you do. Get through the weekend. It's all about college football. Don't listen to any of the radio or any of the fans. And if you want to pick a team, the Cubs play the Brewers Saturday night.
Well,
I'm on board for the Cubs. Let's go Cubs.
Yes. Thank you, Brett.
Absolutely, fly that W flag.
Hey, Brett, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Friday when it'll actually be game day around here with a Friday night tilt between Nebraska and Minnesota. Thank you, my friend.
Oh, wow. Okay. You guys enjoy.
That's Brett Seance from Pick Six Previews. Quick break. We'll come back. Lee Sterling stops by. Lee is on a 4-1 week coming off of that, so he'll stop by with a thought or two on wrong team favored from Paramount Sports.
8-2 in his last 10, Lee Sterling.
All right. 16-20 the zone. All right, here we go on a roll like butter on your croissant this morning. We welcome in. You like that? Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. 4-1 last week. Lee is 8-2 in his last 2 weeks, and he joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Whoa, Lee, you should be excited. You're on a nice little roll.
You're
making money for your clients.
I am.
All right.
No one calls. Trust me. When you're making money, no one calls. So.
Lee, this is not a joke. I'm being quite serious with you here right now.
Okay.
As you know, I'm a sports gambler. I very much enjoy it. I'm not nowhere near the level that you are, but Gary knows this, that I dug myself a little bit of a hole in week 1 and week 2. Okay. We just had some bad beats. Baylor was doing me wrong. Trusted Indiana gets ODU. We'll never make that mistake again. Your picks, you have shoveled me out of the hole. So I appreciate you and your expertise. You're doing incredible work.
Well, let's keep it up.
So let's start in the Big Ten, because it's a great weekend for the SEC and the Big Ten. USC at home, game sold out. Thank you, Michigan. We don't know if we trust Lincoln Riley. We don't know what to make of Michigan. USC is a slight favorite in this game. Where are we going?
Yeah, and the key here for Michigan is to keep the offense of USC off the field. And I think they can do that because I think they're going to control the line of scrimmage. Their offensive line, defensive lines are that dominant. I'm still not a believer in this front four for USC. So when USC gets pushed around and they fall behind, they have trouble. Look at Illinois. I mean, they put 502 yards on them, and Illinois is just maybe a little above average in the Big Ten here. So Bryce Underwood should have no trouble here against this defense, passing the ball, pushing it down the field. And also, I think he's going to probably gain 40, 50 yards running here also when he needs to. Wrong team favorite. Michigan straight up 34-30.
All right, let's go to another matchup in the Big Ten where Illinois, after getting bludgeoned by Indiana, has put themselves back into the seat of potentially getting themselves to the college football playoff after beating USC and Purdue. But they take on Ohio State, who, if you look at any defensive statistic right now in college football, they're probably at the top of it. And they have the two best wide receivers in the country, and Cardinal Tate and Jeremiah Smith, and Julian Sayin is rolling. Lee, Ohio State goes to Champaign. They're a 14.5-point favorite.
Yeah, and you forgot their safety down. They probably, if you took talent-wise the top 10 guys, they might have 4 or 5 guys. They're that talented. I think right now it's Ohio State, Oregon, and Miami in my power poll. After that, there's a huge drop here. Problem for Illinois, don't love their play calling here. And once they get behind, I think they're going to have problems here. I think Ohio State's going to be able to pin their ears back and get a bunch of negative plays on this offense here. So Illinois does great against the bad teams. Against the good teams, not so good. Ohio State, since that Michigan loss, is 9-0 straight up, 8-1 against the spread. You want to step in front of this train? I'm not going to do it just yet here. Ohio State, 41-21.
Hey, this line has gone down a little bit. I don't know what to make of Oregon, Indiana. Oregon at home tomorrow night, still a 7.5-point favorite. What's going on with this line that was a little bit higher when the week began?
Okay, here's what's interesting. So I know this quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, real well. And he's good against bad teams, and he's good at home. But on the road, this year against Iowa, 20 points. I mean, he had one nice play at the end, the slant pattern, read that, distributed the ball perfectly. Surratt does the job. They win the game, but they only scored 20. Last year, they went to SMU when he was at Cal, 6 points, got beat 38-6. They go to Pitt, middling Pitt, and lose 17-15. And then they travel to Florida State, 2-10 Florida State. The only other win Florida State had, get this, was against an FCS opponent. He gets 3 field goals here. There's a couple publications that have him listed as a number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft. Are you kidding me? Nice kid. Seen him in high school, played at Miami Columbus, 10 minutes from my house, but the kid isn't that good. Oregon's going to dominate the line of scrimmage. Tough place to play here. Quack, quack, Ducks, 42-31.
We move to the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who'll go on the road for the first true road game of the season, Lee. I mean, they went to Kansas City, but that was just as much of a home game of anything. Taking on the Maryland Terrapins, who really should be undefeated, but kind of crap the bed, if you will, against Washington last week at home. Interesting styles makes fights matchups. It seems like both teams have some advantages. Who do you think has the biggest advantage coming into this one?
I mean, the Turf, for some reason, they're up 20-0, just stop playing.
Yeah.
I mean, with 3 minutes left in the third, crazy. I've seen it happen. I've been involved in a couple games like that. But I just think the line's too high. The talent level in the offensive line for Nebraska sure hasn't shown me they're any great shake. Maryland got 3 sacks last week on Washington, and a real mobile quarterback here. I think Nebraska is going to escape here. 26-24. I'm taking Maryland plus the touchdown.
All right, let's talk about the Sunday night game because, hey, Jack, it's a fact. The show's back in town. Big game. Detroit and Kansas City at Arrowhead. Kansas City needs to bounce back after what happened on Monday night. Detroit's playing really well. Chiefs are a favorite. This was an early favorite right after the Jacksonville game ended. What happens Sunday night with Carrie Underwood and Patrick Mahomes?
Well, the problem here for Kansas City, they're going up against an offense, and I think their defense is stressed. They don't have enough backups. They're not substituting guys, and they need a break. I mean, they're just a split second short as far as making sacks in coverage here, and Detroit 51-21-2 since 2021, the best record we've seen in over 40 years in a 5-year span here. Detroit's the right side here, 31-23.
All righty, Lee. We moved to a game, and you've done so much for us, and you've given us all these picks, and you've been 8-2 in them. And we got your game of the week, which has some interesting things that I've been seeing about the lines and the totals and everything like that. What's your game of the week, and how can people get it?
Yeah, free game, Iowa and Wisconsin. I've got the right side. First 10 callers, 800-400-9741, 800-400-9741, and check out all the specials. Just one place, guys. ParamountSports.com.
Thanks, Lee. We've been waiting all day to talk to you.
We have been.
All right. What a night. It's finally here. I don't know that there's a guy in football that has more eyeballs on him with the scrutiny than Chris Jones will have Sunday night. For him to bounce back.
Was it really that bad of a play?
Like Chris Jones.
But I'm coming.
Chris Jones.
Can I come in defensive in him?
You're I'm not crushing Chris Jones, but I mean, it just is a bad look.
Even if he sprinted as fast as he possibly could, he was not going to get Trevor Lawrence on that play.
No, he did explain it the other day. He is somebody who is considered one of the best defensive linemen, and when you have something like that, it looks bad.
I agree.
But I think he has to be the best defensive lineman in the NFL this weekend because Detroit also you have to contain the run. It's gonna be a fun game on Sunday night.
It will be. Are you excited for it? Are you nervous?
Yeah, no,
for
I'm
it?
excited.
Okay. I think that I kind of agree with Lee. I think that it's
that's
I kinda
okay.
like the
You know
Lions in
what?
this
Not
one.
everybody has to agree with me. Even my own family doesn't agree with me. Some of the decisions I've made throughout my lifetime, and that's okay because I always remind them that the tough get rough in a primetime fight.
I thought you were going to say you always remind them that the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes, so all the sins are forgiven.
No, not everyone in my family is a sports person. So,
do you know that have I told you this before? Where
you have not.
My brother called me and he was like, "Hey,"
yeah, you certainly haven't.
He was like, "Hey, is Justin Fields no longer the quarterback of Chicago Bears?" This was 3 weeks ago.
Well, you need to say it to him. You need to say to him, "Hey, the NFL's best have come to play, coast to coast." Just one thing left to say. We're back with more of Gary and Matt and Jimmy on a Football Friday Fiesta after this. All right, a little bit later, Mike Schaefer is going to stop by with a thought or two, maybe about the event that will happen at Memorial Stadium in June. Yesterday announced the Savannah Bananas are coming to Lincoln Memorial Stadium. They're actually going to be at Haymarket Park on the 11th, and they're going to go across the freeway. People will be upset. It's I-180. And play in Memorial Stadium. Where remember, 81,000 were at Clemson?
Yeah.
And the Bananas are doing a tour of college football stadiums. They're going to go to Kinnick. Wow. They've got 75 stadiums, 70 cities.
My God.
I think that's the setup. So why not? You never know when the bubble's going to burst on the Bananas. So they're trying to grab as much and show it off to as many people as possible. But we're lucky here because we actually get the Bananas.
Yeah.
Like Sioux Falls gets the non-Bananas, but they still get Banana Ball.
Yes. Well, so I did kind of like how, and I cannot believe it, and this is what this product is now. Like I watched the unveiling. I watched the show. It was like a legitimate production and show. It was incredible. It was a lot of people were there. I like how they did the smaller stadiums get the non-Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, they get to like Sioux Falls. Like Sioux Falls gets exposed to Banana Ball, but it's not the real Bananas.
Yes.
It's the semi-Bananas.
The Indianapolis Clowns.
That is a huge thing. Bob Kendrick, Negro League Museum in Kansas City, which is a must-stop, and Bob is just a generous individual.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the Bananas are introducing the Indianapolis Clowns back, I think is a great addition. So they've got a heck of a setup. The thing to keep in mind, and go and get signed up for the lottery for the tickets for the Nebraska stop, first time ever, is they get all the ticket money.
Really?
Yep. So
good for them.
So there's a give and take of what the host gets.
Sure.
But the ticket money all goes to the Bananas. They handle all the ticketing. They get all the money.
Wow.
What's it? $40?
Apparently, I've been entered already.
Yeah. I'm now curious on what the setup will look like at Memorial Stadium. Like, will left field or right field be the short porch? Where will they put home plate? Because they'll put it in the corner of one of the end zones.
Yeah.
And they will go from there. Because I remember when they were talking about having softball play there after the volleyball day, they were like, where could we put home plate? Would it be a short porch and left? Would it be long and right, or vice versa? So now the next step will be how they're going to set up the stadium. Because you're kind of a little bit confined a little bit how it's built.
Big time.
Yeah. But it'll be a must-see event. We love events. So one day the College World Series will be going on at the same time at 7:00 at Memorial Stadium. There'll be at least 80,000 watching the Bananas.
I think they'll put it. I think you're right. I think they'll put it in the corner of south end zone, and then so would it be south the left? If you're looking this way, the left south end zone, and then like right field will be like 700 feet.
Like you look at I'm looking at what they did at Clemson. So Clemson's confinement. They don't have seats they can move back.
Sure.
It'll probably be very similar to that, where you'll have a short porch and then you'll have like a 700-foot home run. But now we start to think, who will be the celebrities that will pop out? They'll be wearing a Banana uniform to play for, have a Nebraska connection. Because Gordo's already done it in Kansas City.
Sure.
Maybe Sue. Maybe they convince Sue to put on a uniform.
How about
Darren Erstad? I bet Darren Erstad comes back and takes an at-bat.
How about I want Casey. I think that would be incredible if they got Casey Tominaga for that, because it would just be it's been a while since we've seen him. We all love Casey. Yeah. Casey's the best. He just pops up in a Banana uniform. Everyone will be like, "Oh my God, it's Casey! He's here." Maybe Adam Devine will that get him going?
I'm just getting rid of that.
How about Gabrielle Union comes back?
Just have rule.
It's usually it's usually a connection, like a sports connection, right? Like a baseball, like they've done in the major league parks, like like Shane Victorino is taking swings for the Bananas in Philadelphia.
Well, Derek Huff, who's like a Dancing with the Stars dancer, he was like one of the guests at like one of the games. So I think it's like it's whatever you want it to be. It's fluid.
Yeah. What is it?
It's fluid.
You hear this, Jimmy? We got a celebrity amongst in our midst here.
Yeah.
He has made his debut on the Schick and Nick show.
I heard about that cameo.
I will tell you,
shout out to them.
You owe my television partner, Connor Happer, a lot.
Why do I owe him a lot?
Because Connor saved you. Connor could have just let you go, but Connor is familiar with that part of the Schick and Nick show. So
sure,
he saved you.
Sure,
it was the dad and Connor.
Let me be honest with you. Me being joked about on air, that wouldn't have been the first time, and it wouldn't have been the last time. But yes, I'm very thankful for.
I had to remind
my protection.
I like Nick. I go, you know, Matt is, but it was good. You made
Nick
you
did
made
say
your
that.
debut.
He was like, "I've never heard of you," and I'm like, "Oh, that kind of stung." I kind of wish that he, that there might have been an inkling.
So what was it?
It's fluid. Fluid.
So thank you.
I got
punked.
I got so punked though. Like I'm not even gonna.
Well, you didn't know.
Fret. I had no clue.
And Connor saved you. He could have greyhounded you, but he
could have.
Yeah,
But Connor's very sweet.
He put his line in the water and then he pulled it right back out.
Buy him some.
And you had
lunch.
already bit on the line, so it was okay. It was
You
good.
looked at it. He goes, "Too small of a fish. We're fine."
All right, Nebraska, Maryland, big red overreaction afterwards. John Bishop and yours truly. We'll do it until the Cubs game starts at 7:08. Just be prepared for that. Do we need to have a Dylan talk on this morning before Nebraska plays Maryland?
Isn't it in your contract? It's required.
I think so. I like Dylan. Okay,
I'll
have the Dylan talk. I'm concerned.
Yeah.
No, I was waiting for you to lead. Like I didn't know if that was a question.
By the way,
I
think because of the attention that is drawn this week, I wouldn't be surprised if on the first series that Dane Key has a target.
Okay. Is
that
his first play? The very first play of the game?
I don't know about the first play, but I think sometimes when players are brought up about, hey, where was he? They find a way in the first series to say, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, Butch sitting at home in Burwell. Okay, they called my coach's show. There you go. Dane Key caught a pass. Now move on.
I'm concerned. So I think that Nebraska has all of the matchup advantages except when it comes to the D line versus the O line. I think that's just very clear. At this point, I've kind of beaten it like a dead horse because I've made a graphic and we keep talking about it and everything like that. But going back and watch, I am concerned about one thing that doesn't necessarily have to do with Dylan handling pressure, and it's more so Dylan handling reads.
Mm-hmm.
And watching the Maryland tape, they do a lot of exotic stuff on their defensive line where they'll show 6 and they're only rush 3, or they'll make them look like an outside linebacker's coming, and he'll run maybe 2 yards and then he'll stop and he'll pull back and try and trap the quarterback for throwing a curl or some sort of short route and then pick it off. I am a little concerned about, all right, is Dylan going to be able to try and diagnose that, understand, hey, this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing exotically up on the front. Maryland sent 3 guys a ton against Washington. I don't know if they're really going to do that against Nebraska because I don't know if they want to let Nebraska off the hook, and send 3. But I think a big factor in this game is going to be how does Dylan read the defensive line, and then how does he react when they send rushers in different areas and drop back to different spots. So that is my Dylan conversation has nothing to do with him being a mobile and put in Latif or anything. Like it's more so to do with Maryland gets creative. I want to see how he reacts to that creativity.
Regardless of what they bring at him, this is what I like about this game. Do we all realize that Dylan basically is halfway through his career at Nebraska on Saturday?
Happer said that to me, and I was stunned at first, and then I realized I was like, "You're not wrong."
Okay, so he was a highly recruited quarterback, 5-star, who has shown 5-star capability. He is this year shown closer to being a 5-star than a 3-star bust.
For sure.
He's not going to be in a headline on The Athletic that says flop,
no,
like Arch Manning was this week. But as we make the transition to the second half of your career, I will be very curious because Dylan wants the smoke. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Dylan leads the team out of the tunnel. Dylan sprints ahead of everybody else on the field when they run on the field. He stands there and he wants people to give some adoration to the ball club. Okay. So you want the smoke. It's time to give him smoke. And we're going to see if he can handle the smoke because Nebraska's sitting 4-1. And you want to be crazy in this world of unpredictability and maybe some parity in college football. There is a realistic, I'm not doing a stand-up routine here.
Okay.
There's a realistic path that Nebraska, a month from now, is still in a conversation to be in the playoff. That is an actually realistic thing when you look at teams around them and that Nebraska's only had one hiccup.
Yes.
Okay. And what is in front of them, if they are a good team like Saturday will show myself. So if Dylan wants the smoke, and I truly believe that he does as a competitor, it's time to give him the smoke and see how he can handle it. And this is one of those games because I wonder as a competitor, and they listen. Everybody can say they don't but they're on TikTok and they're on my Instagram, and so they're out there. They got their ears to the ground. Is who has been a more talked about quarterback on this radio station this week? Nebraska's quarterback or a freshman quarterback who has only thrown 2 of his 183 passes to a defender? Or maybe it's very even.
Dylan.
Okay.
I think
But
Dylan.
there's been a lot of discussion about Malik Washington, right? So Malik
ton.
Washington is a freshman. He was not as highly acclaimed as Dylan. I don't know. Maybe as a competitor, you're like, whoa, hey, I see he's a big guy. He's had a nice start to the season. This is also one of those games where you just remind people that you're the better quarterback. And again, Nebraska's going to play every game this year where they will begin the game. Their quarterback is better than the other guy. Okay. That includes Mr. Aller at Penn State. I wonder if this game you just go, you know what? Just remind you, he was where I was last year. This is me halfway through my career at Nebraska, and ball out. And here we go. And you know what? I want the smoke. Give me the smoke, good or bad. But today, I'm going to be the guy that is out there with the hydrant, or not the hydrant, but the extinguisher, creating the smoke. I just wonder if that factors in, because there's been a lot of chatter about Malik Washington.
I just want him to play with the fire in his eyes from the very first snap. That's what I would like.
You think that's been lacking?
I think it's been lacking when your coach says, I like it when Dylan gets angry. I like it when he gets upset. I like it when, he gets bloody in his eyes and then he starts playing well.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on Rule's discussion about Dylan, because I think there's sometimes that Rule has blinders on.
Oh God,
and there won't be an
actual convo about it.
It's just a recognition of my quarterback. I mean, we all know that for the world to go around in GBR Nation, that Dylan has to be Dylan. Okay.
Yes.
And Dylan has to deal. He can't do it all by himself, but Dylan has to be on point for more of the 60 minutes than less of the 60 minutes. But now Rule's in a spot with the Raiolas that it's a very awkward conversation. And I don't necessarily listen to everything that he says.
Sure. Oh, when it comes to that now,
because he knows what's out there, and he knows, hey, he does.
Sure.
Rule don't want that smoke from the fam.
But the reason, though, I believe him in this regard is because there were some fans who were very upset of what was going on. And Dylan had brought up the whole booing thing a couple weeks before. And, it seemed like he was bothered by it. And then when he came up to the podium and before he even said a word, it looked like he was a little upset, after, maybe the perception that people had after they had won and after they had gone 4-1. So I believe Rule when he says he was upset and that anger in him made him play better. I think more so the point, though, and you were alluding to this, is I just feel like with Dylan, we've seen the ceiling has gone up. Like his best play this year is way better than his best play last year.
Oh, by far, yes.
But his bad play this year is almost as equal to what some of his bad play was last year. Like missing receivers, holding out of the ball just a little bit too long, not picking up the protections like that. We saw some of that last year. I just wish the ceiling has gone through the roof. I wish the floor was a little higher.
All of those things that are going to plague him, the clock in the head, the peripheral vision, the backing up into pressure. I just don't, Glenn Thomas, Dana Holgerson, Matt Rule, Gary Sharp, I don't think they're going to be able to fix that. So I think this is what's different this week. They help him with that, whether it be their protection, whether it be the pass game. All of a sudden, Holgerson has a pretty deep playbook of screens, crack screens and stuff, and they tried to run some of them. Michigan State did a really good job. Now, the other thing that Michigan State did that we'll see, because everybody copies everybody else. Everybody watches tape. Not everybody's built like Michigan to just overwhelm the two tackles. Sure. Okay? So you got to do some different stuff. And there were some stunts that were going on that they try and confuse the offensive line and overwhelm them by numbers.
Yeah.
They also did a really good job of, and this is a Barney conversation, not a negative Barney conversation. It's just good Joe Rossi conversation for Michigan State. Look what they did to their slot wide receivers. That Dylan loves the slot wide receiver.
He does.
His option isn't bang, bang down the field. Let's hit a guy flying. He likes that slot wide receiver. Get it in, get it out. I think Holgerson likes that too.
Yeah.
Michigan State took that away. So I think watch early on tomorrow is what does Nebraska do offensively with the OC and what they put as a game plan to help Dylan to get those kind of things involved early that open up for Hunter and Key on the outside so they can stretch the field a little bit and give Dillon more of a comfort.
I think this is where you make your hay as an offensive coordinator, when you actually have to work around things, right? Like, and I'm just going to use a Detroit Lions example, but I think it's really, really easy to look awesome as the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator when you have two great running backs, a really good quarterback, two really good wide receivers, and a tight end, right? You have, and your offensive line is awesome, right? What are your weaknesses? It's easy for you to play pitch and catch. Dana now has a problem that he has to work around. Like, Michigan State confirmed that they have an offensive line problem. It wasn't just a Michigan thing. It was a Nebraska thing that he has to now. So how do you make it, like, to your point, how do you do the quick game? How do you use the extension of the run game? How do you get the ball out of his hands quicker? I'll tell you this right now. Maryland had no problem dropping 8 guys back in coverage against Washington and telling Damon Williams, hey, you got to fit into a hole here. Like, you got to fire this ball. And he threw a pick on one of those times they dropped 8 back into coverage. And so I think that Dana's going to have to, just be like, no, I'm a better play caller than you, and I'm going to give my offense more opportunities to go and take advantage of what you're running against.
Yeah, I think also they're working with a guy that's not stubborn. Like, they say, hey, I know what you want to do, but this is what we need to do because this is how we're built. And the quarterback doesn't push back and go, no, man, I showed up here. I got a couple of 6 shooters in the holster. Okay, I need to get them out. I need to use them. And they're like, no, just keep them in the pocket. You know what? We'll help you. Okay, when you go through security, it's going to beat, but you don't need to have them out in guns a-blazing. So there's always, like, now that we're the halfway point of his career at Nebraska. And now we get into does he look like an NFL quarterback? Because, they'll start assessing quarterbacks in the 27 class, and they'll be like, well, he's got the look, but that's the time, like in a game like this, to start to erase the but. He looks serviceable, looks good, combo with Dana. They move the ball, they scored points. I don't know.
Is that the next evolution, Gary, of him pulling out the gun out of the holster a little bit more? Or are we okay? Like, the best of Dillon that we've seen this year, the best of him.
Yeah.
Are we satisfactory with that? Like, how he looked in certain spots against Michigan and how he looked in certain spots against Cincinnati and Akron, are we okay with that being his ceiling?
I don't know. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. That's where I think there's a little bit more to take out of him.
Sure.
But there also might be a conversation later down the road of Dana's ability to call plays, and what Dana likes is more suited to the guy that's not starting at quarterback at Nebraska.
And it's more suited to the guy who
has a different skill set than what Dillon has. But Dillon has a really good skill set, so part of your offense does churn. But your offense gets bigger and more exciting when you have different options as a quarterback. If you look at Dana's past history.
But not even Dana's past history. If you look at what Dillon did in high school, like this whole check down Charlie thing and him throwing the curls and the hooks and everything, he never did that.
Yeah. But it's a good combination right now for what Nebraska, how they're built.
Sure.
But at some point this year, they're going to have to open it up. They're going to have to stretch the field. But everybody is looking at what Cincinnati did and say, hey, can we do that? Because Michigan State did it for a while. But there's going to be another part of tomorrow is Maryland, as you were kind of alluding to, they're going to throw some stuff at Dillon that maybe he hasn't seen. They're going to, and they've had 9 interceptions. Nebraska's wide receivers have to be better when the ball is snapped. Okay, we haven't had a lot of, hey, can they go get 50-50 balls? Now they're not dropping balls. They've only had 6 drops in 5 games. But watch them off the line of scrimmage. Okay. They had trouble with that early against Michigan State of getting off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And when the pocket's starting to
close,
you don't have a half a second is something that you can't afford. So that's another thing tomorrow. All right, quick break. Shafe's coming up in 30 minutes here on Gary and Matt on a Football Friday Fiesta on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back in. Gary and Matt and Jimmy on a Football Friday Fiesta. You got one game to watch tomorrow. What game are you watching in college football?
Missouri, Alabama.
Let's go Tide. Run it up.
Sneaky game.
I am very intrigued.
Burn the town to the ground.
By Missouri. They're averaging 292 rushing yards a game. That's third in the country this season. Now they haven't, no offense, Jimmy, haven't really played anybody. And they
None
just
taken.
have this is by far their biggest test to begin the year.
Yeah.
And I understand
Also,
a lot
hand
of
in your Big 12 card. I thought you were a spokesman for the league.
I am a spokesman for the league, but the Big 12
basketball season starts in a couple of weeks.
Okay, no, not about that. About football. I'm a spokesman for Big 12 football because Big 12 football is awesome. It's entertaining. It's fun. But the only really good matchup is like Kansas State versus I think they're playing TCU. Like that's the only one that really get out of
no Dylan Edwards again injured.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm really intrigued by Missouri, Alabama, because all these big brain people are like, oh, Alabama's back and Alabama's great and Alabama's this. It's like I can't erase what I saw against Florida State. Like the only thing that I really thought was redeeming in the Florida State game for Alabama was their quarterback, who's ended up being pretty damn good this year. Yeah. But I'm intrigued by that. What about you?
Also, we're missing a key running back in that game against Florida State. I don't know. It's they responded against Vanderbilt, but that's 2 straight weeks Alabama's had to play at that level, and they go to Columbia, an 11 a.m. game. Everybody talks about travel more the Big Ten and ACC if you're than the SEC. What would impact you more, you think? The travel of a couple of time zones or playing at 11 a.m. as a college kid?
Playing at 11 a.m. for sure.
I think 11 a.m. is big. That's an 11 a.m. game in Columbia. Unless your team practices during the season in the morning and you have to be in the facility at 6, it's still kind of jarring to get up at 5:36 and you begin your game day routine when you're eating and then you're to the stadium and then at 11 a.m. you're playing. Of course, even more so if you're located on the West Coast. Those 11 a.m. games are a little tricky.
Speaking be sleepy too.
This is the first time Michigan State's played an 11 a.m. game in 2 years.
What?
That's weird.
Yeah, or
That's
a noon
really
local time. Yeah.
What, they've just been on the FS1 3:00 slate just consistently
They
for the last
they
2
played night
seasons?
games. They like to play night games. Like in the non-con, they do play. They like those night games.
Dude, I'm never like when I was an athlete, playing in the morning sucked. It was brutal. It didn't matter if it was 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Like it was you're still a little groggy. Like you got to get your feet under you, and especially too like I'm sure these college athletes are at a better. Like they're probably practicing, hey, going to bed earlier and waking up like early and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think you can ever simulate that in terms of like getting ready for a game. Like there's nothing more stressful than that. Like there's no practice for it.
Well, you get used to it at Nebraska. You've played all over the map in terms of start times. Because next Friday you're going to play at 7. You've already played a night game at 8.
Yeah.
You've already played a night game at 6. You've already played a game at 3.
You played a game at 2:30.
You played a game at 2:30. You're playing another game Central Time, 2:30.
Let's just do 105 for old time's sake for one of the games for Northwestern. Yeah.
Let's do a throwback game.
Yeah.
Have the game only be on radio.
Yeah.
That'd be great. For the Northwestern game, I don't want anybody to watch that either.
With pay-per-view, just to, complete
Just spice
the whole
it up a little
experience.
bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
$2.99.
probably going to sneak in a 6:30 game, maybe the NBC game for Nebraska and USC.
Ooh.
Maybe 6:30 for Nebraska Penn State, maybe. So yeah, you're kind of used to it, but I think those athletes, if you're not on a program that practices in the morning, 11 a.m. is a little bit jarring. Like if you're used to practicing in the afternoon, or some places because of the heat of the day, they still in the season practice at night, and all of a sudden you're playing at 11. I think that's a watch that for Alabama.
That's interesting.
The travel or the 11, because Washington definitely was impacted by the travel. Rule alluded to they got in late. They didn't start to look like Washington until they had woken up.
Yeah. Well,
like they got up to a really, really slow start. But it's also, I think you get slow starts in places you're not familiar with.
Well,
Nebraska doesn't play in that stadium very often. They don't play against that team very often.
No.
All of a sudden it's brand new and you're like, okay, you're learning everything. And then if you wake up, hopefully you're not in a big hole. You're not in a 20-3 hole. But that just seemed like Washington took it until the fourth quarter till like, okay.
But then Oregon too. Oregon seemed like they were sleepwalking in a way, and then they finally woke up toward the end of the game. I just think with the whole like 11 a.m. versus like the going like traveling across different time zones and stuff like that, The 11 a.m. game, I guess against your point, if you're used to practicing in the morning, like if your practices in the morning are at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or whatever, I don't think that'll bother you too much. I don't think there is any doubt that teams are always bothered when they go from East Coast to West Coast or West Coast to East Coast. I mean, even back in the NFL, like these are professionals and they will stay. You'll have East Coast teams stay on the West Coast if they have to play back-to-back games there.
Well, watch Rutgers tonight. That'll be
against Washington. What's the spread in that game?
10.5, but the over looks really good. A couple of comments on the YouTube, on the chat room. Sean talking about the defense for Nebraska. I think you can start to see some of the growth and development under Butler. One thing John Butler's shown me the last couple of weeks, John Butler knows coverages. John Butler knows coverages in the back end, where, of course, that's his expertise. And then what they're doing up front with some of their packages, he's starting to find a way. There's two things I want to retire, right? Should win and 3-3-5. Because Nebraska's more of a 4.
They are more
of a 4-3, or do any combination of the other 7 numbers behind the 4. But John Butler, I think he knows ball. I think he's starting to understand the relationship between the first and second level, how it blends with his guys he knows the best in the back end. I don't think it's any surprise that Nebraska on the back end has played pretty well, because the guy that's coordinated the defense was just with him.
Something I'm going to keep my eye out for, to your point of the whole 3-3-5, and Rule talked about it at his press conference, of the fact that when you see Dawson Merritt in the game, that's their 4-3 package, right? I wonder if, because you have great guys on the back end and you have some athletic linebackers, if we see, and they ran it a little bit against Cincinnati. Truth be told, I wasn't fully paying attention to it during the Michigan State game. I can go back and look for it. But if they run a little 4-2-5, because that's a defense that Ryan Walters ran in Illinois in 2022. And that was basically anchored off of an incredible secondary that allowed you to get that pressure consistently with 4 guys up front, and then have your studs in the back end kind of hold everything down, and then have that matriculate down into pressure. I wonder if they try and run that a little bit.
So this is a good question by M. Bigley about Nebraska's defense, because they give up 30 to Michigan and they give up 27 to Michigan State. And you can pick apart the good and the bad. You could look at Michigan and go, there's 3 really explosive plays. You take those out. Nebraska defensively, you would take it. Now, you go back to last Saturday, Michigan State scores, I don't want to say garbage touchdown, because Nebraska defensively does have this tendency to give up a touchdown or a drive, more a touchdown, Cincinnati and Michigan State, after they've scored. And you're like, okay, game is sealed, deal, go defense, shut them down, get the ball back, game is over. They've done that twice this year. Now, granted, what they were running at the end, I wouldn't call it, prevent defense.
Sure.
But Michigan State got in the end zone, and it's still a touchdown. But the one thing about last week is those touchdown drives by Michigan State, short fields. Like, I get concerned if somebody is able to line up and drive 80 yards on Nebraska.
Sure.
Right now, the scoring drives haven't been a lot of those 80-yard drives. They've been short field. This is also looks like a game tomorrow that'll be field position game with special teams. But who's going to take the ball away? Who's going to? I mean, there's the stats, all of the stats out there that we just can rattle off in our sleep about Nebraska football. And Sam wrote about it today, and I talked about it earlier in the week, that it's nice to be 5 games into the year and you're not beating your head over turnovers, penalties, or special teams. Since Bill Callahan's first season in 2004, everybody remember that season?
I mean, I know of the season. I don't remember.
I remember the year.
You guys don't remember that season?
The season wasn't.
That was our introduction to Bill Callahan. Nebraska's only finished on the positive side of the turnover margin, 2.
Jeez.
But they were 2 pretty good teams. The 2009 team, much better than the 2016 team.
Sure.
But those are the only 2 times that Nebraska's finished with a positive turnover margin. This year, they're trending in the right direction. So Sam drops this little nugget.
Okay.
When Nebraska wins the turnover margin since Callahan's first year, they're 75-11. They are 41-89 when they don't.
Oh my God.
When they are -2 or worse,
okay,
Nebraska's 11-53. So this plays into tomorrow. Of those 53 losses, Nebraska's been a favorite 23 times.
Okay.
So Nebraska's a +6 through 5 games. Maryland is really good at the turnover, which has helped them get their feet on the ground with a young team, which you wouldn't think. So does tomorrow simply come down to which team beats themselves? Nebraska hasn't really beaten themselves like they have in the past, but now it's a road game. Weird place. Team you don't usually see.
No, and you don't usually go out there.
You're not a lot of those guys you're not recruiting for or against. So it's not like you know their personnel really, really well. So we'll see. Those are things that travel. I think winning the turnover margin, where that's not part of your DNA, at least not so far with this team, and also special teams, because it's field position game.
Well, I think this is a control game.
Doesn't that kind of like they go hand in hand?
They go hand in hand. Field positioning, special teams, control. And when you're looking at it that way, right? Like Nebraska has the major advantage of that because even though the run game has not been great, it is better than Maryland's. It is so much better than Maryland's. And I was reading, this is on a Maryland 24/7. Like one of their writers was writing about this.
What's the name of their 24/7 site?
I don't
Terrapin
know.
Power.
I have no clue. But this guy was writing about
that would be a great site for Maryland athletics.
The half shell.
The half shell.
Yes.
I like Sooner Scoop. This is my Eddie Radovich.
That'd be tough look for a Maryland site.
I don't know. That'd go over
Sooner
well.
Scoop. I like Sooner Scoop, the name. I don't know. Wouldn't you
got it for Maryland. Orangebloods.com.
Aren't Oysters better on the full shell, though? Wouldn't you want to be the full shell?
No, they were heroes in a half shell.
How about TMNT.com? Just be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Anyway, bad jokes. This article, though, this is actually, I want to read this. Beyond an experience, the Terps lack depth, specifically along the defensive line. That's arguably a bigger cause for concern going forward. It was especially prevalent against the Huskies after the team lost Sidney Stewart to a targeting call before the end of the second quarter and Zamir Mathis for a portion of the third quarter with an injury. Players got tired in a hurry, as evidenced by Washington quarterback DeMond Williams Jr. gaining 53 of his 68 rushing yards in the second half. Okay, so we talk really mightily about this defensive line, and rightfully so, with all the regular and advanced statistics they have. But Nebraska, if they can establish a run game and EJ can get going, then they can tire these guys out, and then you can start gashing them a little bit more, start controlling the ball a little bit more, not allowing Maryland to have the ball a ton, and then they got to start throwing the ball. You pin your ears back. You play to your strength of secondary. Like, I think this just really comes down to, can you run the ball well, and can you tire out some of these guys on the D-line? And what that also comes down to, Gary, is you got to stay ahead of the sticks. You got to be better on first down in this game.
Will Maryland run for more than 50 yards as a team, or the highest individual rusher for Maryland? Higher than 50 yards.
Yes. Yes.
They only average shade under 100 per game. Was it 29 carries for 93 yards is their average?
It was 3.3 yards per carry. Yeah. It's disgusting. It's 120th out of 136 teams.
Show me that you're different. Usually that happens and we look and go, oh, but they'll fix it against Nebraska. Well, I don't know, make it go the other way from 3.4 to 3.2. Got to take a break. We'll come back. Mike Schaefer coming up at the top of the hour. Plus, we'll have our picks for the weekend, and we might have a score or two. The gut is still churning. Nebraska either wins by 2 touchdowns or this is a close game. And I'm not saying that because it's a close game, they win.
I have mine. I have my gut. But I can't. I know what you're saying. It's either or. I just can't see him winning by 2 touchdowns. I don't see it.
They stop the run. Maryland can't stay on the field. Marnie houses one. They do something else. They have a good field position. Score a late touchdown. Winner, chicken dinner. No?
34.
People aren't vibing with the winning by 2 touchdowns plus. I know that. Everybody is predicting like 28, 21, 7. Like covering just barely covering the spread or Maryland covers. I get it.
Everybody's either 1 point cover or 1 point non-cover.
You know what? A win is a win.
Exactly.
Yes. And you don't apologize. They could be 5-1.
They could be 5-1. Halfway through the season. A win away from a bowl.
No. Let's not do the win away from a bowl.
Why? That's true. That's facts. I deal with facts.
But we've done.
I only deal with facts.
But we did the win away from a bowl.
You're a hypothetical guy. I'm not a
hypothetical guy.
I love hypotheticals.
I did a win away. We've been doing the win away.
What if Tommy Frazier was in Dylan's role? What would Nebraska's record be? 9-5-1, 16-20.
We did a win away from the bowl game for 4 years, and it never worked out.
They didn't have a quarterback.
Things never worked out.
They have a quarterback.
Things are different. You know, they went to a bowl game last year. Did you forget? Nebraska basketball also won the crown. Didn't forget. Hoiberg got asked about it yesterday.
I'm waiting for the Burkay comment.
It's coming. Patience.
No. They're exactly where they should be picked. I have no idea what they're going to do. But I did like they bring up toughness, because when I think of toughness, I think of my guy.
Sam Hoiberg?
Turkish Nightmare.
Oh.
He's going to go into the foxhole.
What?
He's going to start clearing out people with those,
What'd you just
those
say?
steely elbows.
When you think of toughness, you think of Berthe Buchan, Joe? That's who you think of? I think of things that you could find in aisle 35 at Target.
For toughness?
All right, Chafe's coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, Mike Schaefer's going to join us here in the next segment with a thought or two on many things.
Many thoughts.
Yes. We can all relate to Paul Skeens, can't we? Like, let me first start it like this.
No.
I think people yesterday said, you know what? I can relate to LeBron.
What? They're hacks?
Narcissists? What?
They make you think one thing and they do another thing?
No, why he's injured.
Oh, his nerve?
Sciatica.
Oh, hell, I got that one time.
So you're like LeBron. That's what I think about Jimmy when I see every morning is Jimmy Chavez, LeBron James.
I don't think Jimmy
going to call a game once, and I was like, why can't I feel my foot? What's going on? And then, long story short, a couple weeks later, it was still affecting me, and we were on a trip to New York City, and I'm walking through Times Square like Kaiser Soze trying to keep up with our group. Yeah.
That is such a good one.
Nice pull.
That's a great pull.
Yeah. So,
you guys ever
Matt,
get a
when you
stinger?
get that,
You guys ever get a stinger before? Just like in your physical
funny bone, all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
sciatica is worse.
Yeah. So, LeBron is out 3 to 4 weeks. It's okay. I've already prepared for the ending for LeBron. So it's not like I'm going to stop watching the NBA. But he is out. We can also relate to Paul Skeens.
I can't. I'm not 6'4". I don't have a nasty fastball / splinker. I didn't go to the Air Force Academy, transfer to LSU, win a national title, date a very accomplished human. I can't relate to him. If anything, I could not relate to Paul Skeens any less than I currently do right now. I might be the anti-Paul Skeens.
I think
For
those
now.
of us that
To get that human.
that miss Sky Meg on the
I know.
Jimmy, I'll just focus on you.
There you go. That's one of those segments.
So it's crazy. They used to have magazines.
I'm aware of what magazines are.
Sky
all right?
Mall.
Loved Sky Mall.
What
Sky
is
Mall.
that?
Sky Mall, you could find anything under the sun of uniqueness. that
Today you
could
call
purchase.
it eBay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, but
yeah.
it was in the magazine form.
That's crazy.
All the sharper image stuff that I would ask my dad, can we get it? And he'd be like, you can buy that when you're a grown up. I didn't buy any of it, so he knew.
So one of the things that I always was amused by is they had the hot dog cooker where you'd put the hot dog in the bun and then you would like be a toaster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I thought, man, that'd be great
Yeah.
to have. Well,
You're not wrong.
yesterday, now that we are fully dab into the off season with Paul Skeens has a hot dog roller in their kitchen.
I think that's incredible.
Now, I don't know how I know this, but I do. So they have purchased a home recently in Florida.
I know.
I think they are near Bradenton, where the Pirates have spring training in Pirate Town.
I like how you know roughly where.
Well,
because
I can tell. I can tell
by the beach.
No, I can tell by the sun, and also by the style of the house.
Okay,
that it's a Florida house, and it's a Florida house that's on the water.
Got you.
I saw him building.
Difference between Bradenton
Livy,
and Fargo.
He was building Livy's bed, and then he looked like me when I was building my bed. His shirt was off, and his feet were completely under the bed, and he was like perched up. I'm like, oh, me and Paul Skeens were one of the same.
I'm sure things worked out different for him.
Hey, that's how we can relate, because as he is, in the off season trying to figure out, do I really want to stay in Pittsburgh, and how terrible is our ownership group that we're never going to go to the postseason? He's thinking, I'm hungry. He has a hot dog roller in his kitchen.
You've obviously had hot dogs with toasted buns before, correct?
Yes.
How much of it?
This is like basically going into Quick Trip and walking out with their hot dog roller, and you can purchase these because I have looked extensively into this.
We've talked about this.
I just don't have space to have a hot dog roller on my counter, but I came close to pulling the trigger earlier this summer because I saw it and I was like,
if you had a hot dog roller, would you just keep that sucker going all day? Like
hell
they
yeah.
do at okay.
I would invite everybody under the sun. I would go get strangers that are on the corner of 72nd and Pacific to come to my house to look at my hot dog roller.
Pardon me,
but
my
I saw
homeless friend.
Skeens. He has a hot dog roller in his own kitchen.
We tried to get one for the basement down here.
If you think that Skeens already in his brief 2 years in the majors is already headed to the Hall of Fame, right now, this is why he is also going to be in the Hall of Fame, is because at this age, he has a hot dog roller in his kitchen. Paul Skeens is genius. Talk amongst yourselves, 402-951-1620. We can relate to LeBron. We can relate to Skeens. Don't let anybody tell you you can't.
You can't relate to either of those two people. And
Why?
secondly,
Get you some sciatica and you'll see.
How would your significant other feel if you're like, honey, we're turning this sucker into a come and go?
I think.
Would you want a big gulp machine too?
No, this is different. This is different. If they say only in the garage, a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But if they say, let's bring it in the house where we can have the smells of the grilled hot dog on the hot dog rollers, it's going all day, even when you're at work. Like I could have left this morning at 6 and put the hot dogs on and turn it on the roller, and they're.
I think OPPD is listening to this right now, and
Good morning, guys.
They're licking their lips just thinking about what your electric bill would look
but I
like.
save money from. You remember how I heat and cool my home?
Yeah.
So I got some in the bank,
which means you don't.
Hey, so I would walk home. I'd get home like at 11:30 this morning. I'd walk in. You would smell the grilled hot dog, and it would have a better smell than like you go into Quick Trip and you don't immediately smell, or a convenience store and you don't smell what's on the roller. Okay.
There are days that you just get closer and closer to being Michael Scott, and this is one of them.
For a hot dog roller?
This is one of those
what is the difference between this and being like I put a couple strips of bacon before I go to sleep on my George Foreman grill, and I just like the smell of bacon in the morning. Sue me. This is a ridiculous idea in which you'd be wasting a lot of energy. Which
This should have been on my baby registry.
The amount of progress that you've made, losing your weight and being incredibly healthy like you are, this is one of the most unhealthy things that you could possibly do.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think you
Deep
need.
frying.
How often are you eating a hot dog?
I would eat more hot dogs if I had a hot dog roller and I kept it inside and not in my
That's
garage.
not a good thing. That's not a positive thing. That's not good for your heart. It's not good for your
shocked
aorta.
you're
Isn't that how it
anti
works?
this.
Isn't that how it works? Like, hey, if marijuana was legalized, I'd do more dope.
Well,
yeah,
but no one's
not?
illegally.
People
No
don't
one's.
call it dope anymore.
First
I was
off-
like slipping that in there.
One of our coworkers
Hot dogs
does.
aren't illegal.
Hold on, time out.
What?
Well, not on the zone. I'll tell you during the break.
Oh my God, we had back in the day. Yeah, or
I'm not picking up what you're putting down. You're nodding your head at me like I should know. I
believe
know.
they no longer work here, and they haven't worked here for a while. We had a full-on cannabis factory going out of NRG Media, like a decade
Damn, I was
ago.
hired here too late.
My former employer.
Dude,
was
one
like
of our
that.
I should have applied
hey,
10 years ago.
Hey, one of our former employee, one of our current employees who got married, there were so many people that worked here that were baked at his wedding.
Oh, I think I know what employee you're talking about.
That's my kind of wedding.
That was a nice Bronco they had.
They had Broncos at the wedding?
No, they were
No,
driving a Bronco.
The car.
I tried
OJ's
I
car.
tried getting Broncos yesterday, and they told me they don't have any tap to pay, and I didn't have my cards in my wallet. You ever done that before? You just leave your credit card and debit card out of your wallet on accident?
Nope.
No,
You've never done that?
no.
Okay. Well, I did.
Welcome.
And they go, no tap to pay. And I'm like, what is this? The
Mm-hmm.
1900s?
So Skeens, very similar. And I know your girlfriend. I have pictures. All right.
Okay. I don't think that's how you should lead off with Paul. Hey, Paul, nice to meet you. I got pics of your girlfriend. I
on
think
my
that-
phone.
Yeah, I think that would be taken in a very different way, Mr. Gary Sharp.
But then I would show him and he would understand.
I think you and
He goes, hey,
Skeens-
we were in the same place.
I think you and Paul Skeens would get very close with his knuckle up in your cheekbone.
Facts. I
Man.
only deal in facts.
But then you could parade around and be like, look, Paul Skeens gave me this black eye. Nice
No.
black eye.
He would understand. He would understand. I mean,
Do we want to
at
play?
the time, they were not an item.
Hey, Paul, back when you weren't dating your girlfriend, I have pics of her on my phone.
He'd be like,
That's
who
even
doesn't?
worse.
You know that our first conversation, she goes, you have a really nice zoo. And I said, I have nothing to do with it. Yeah,
thought
that
you
happened on air. Okay.
I thought you were going to say,
Uh,
like she said, you had nice eyes. That'd be sweet.
No, it was.
Which would be a lie.
I was more concerned about all these 14-year-old kids that are standing behind me. What do they think? They're going to get her number?
No, it's
Hey,
ridiculous.
shoot your shot.
It's the same. It's same thing with the guys who follow all the hot models on Instagram. Like, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to like her post, and she's going to be like, "Oh, I wonder who this guy is." You're going to date? No, get out of here.
That's why I gave up Instagram because of the pursuit of models. 'Cause
think-
it's so confusing.
I think you have Instagram. You just refuse to tell me, so I can't send you the videos that I find funny on Instagram.
Can't you just search him?
I do not have Instagram. Honestly, I don't have Instagram.
He could definitely.
I don't need
be a different
Instagram.
guy.
I got too many things going on. We got a high school football game tonight where the red, white, and blue are going to be honored.
Do you post
Okay?
pictures?
It's
of,
USA night
do you
at
post-
Elkhorn.
Do you ever post pictures of yourself on social media?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm not making fun of you or anything like
I
that.
don't like taking selfies. I don't like taking pictures.
See, if I wasn't single, I probably wouldn't. It's God's honest truth. I get people might think it's funny, but it really is the truth. If I was dating somebody, there's no way I would post myself.
Here's what we'll do. We'll let my kid babysit you one night, and you can take a picture and post it on the Instagram. And
well, I do have that problem. Like at the wedding that I went to, I have some great pictures, but they're with a bunch of small humans who I know aren't allowed to be on social media, so I can't post them. Okay. I got to let the people know I'm alive and that I look good. That's
you did until you shaved.
I think that's rude. I actually do think I look good with shaven.
I look good and I'm alive, and you can see 2 radio guys doing TV tonight and 2 radio guys doing radio at the same game. Poor planning on your part over there on the 1290, the 1620 high school game of the week. So both of us are at Westside Elkhorn South tonight. Going to be a great game.
Great game.
You get Tay against Sutco. 2 really good coaching staffs. I like both head coaches really well. Guy Rosenberg is one of my favorites. Paul Lamanji has been one of my favorites for a long time. Last year in this game, it was a little one-sided. Elkhorn South hasn't played a ranked team since I think we did the Bellevue West game. Should be a great game tonight out at Elkhorn, but it'll be on TV and then it'll also be on radio. So you can come see Connor and I on Cox or stream it, or you can listen to John and Matt here on The Zone.
I'm excited. We're actually going to have a competitive game.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Don't say that. Wasn't going to be a competitive game, and it kind of played out that way. Every time I see Bennington play in this version where everybody said, well, Bennington's going to take a step back. They won last night against Elkhorn.
Yeah.
They have that district. So B is, A is what it is. Even though playing the Vista Central is going to be a really good game tonight. Keep an eye on that one, along with our one between Elkhorn South and Westside. But in District 1 and B is deep. I can't wait for the playoffs and how this is all going to play out, because getting to Memorial Stadium is going to be a challenge. Whoever gets there has run the gauntlet in Class B. So Elkhorn North and Scott play tonight. Scott and Bennington play next week. And then in 2 weeks, our Thursday night game is Elkhorn North and Bennington. That's a great class. Class B is wide open with Norris and Waverly making some noise.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what that is. But Bennington, Bufakeo, their quarterback, is only a junior. Again, he performed really well last night. And also, shout out to Columbus.
What do they do?
Discoverers. So they are, I think they have a pretty heavy senior class.
Okay.
And they haven't made a lot of noise in football consistently.
Sure.
But they won against Lincoln East last night. They were down 11 in the fourth quarter and came back and won. And I think CBUS is 6-1.
You know what? I'm really excited tonight because I like it when you come on the show and you talk about high school prospects that you like and maybe high school prospects that we haven't been talking about enough, and giving kids credit, the credit that they deserve, right? One guy that you've talked about since the beginning of this season, we're going to watch tonight, Jaden Sutko. You have been on the Jaden Sutko train for quite a while. You've been telling everybody, hey, this is he's not getting looked at enough, so on and so forth. I'm super excited to watch him tonight because
he's going to Fresno State. Maybe Arizona is going to get involved. I would love to see Nebraska. Nebraska recruited him as a linebacker, and then kind of after camping, there wasn't a lot of extra love. I would like to see them look at him as a running back. Now, the interesting twist tonight, there is a particular guy who is the defensive coordinator for Westside. This tells you you're getting old. So I've had the ability, or I had the pleasure, to announce 2 kids' games that used to come here and sleep because their dad was working because their daycare was not open. Caleb and Micah. And now Micah is a 2-way player for Westside as a sophomore. I've already seen Caleb play. So their dad, who happens to be the defensive coordinator, will be helping out with the defense from his hotel room in Maryland tonight.
Really?
Yeah,
that's smart. That's the coaching box of all coaching.
So I got to tell you a quick conversation with Damon and myself.
Okay, that's funny.
So he told me, last week, because he goes, "Hey, are you guys doing TV for the Westside Elkhorn South game?" And I said, "Is the Pope Catholic?" And so he had a comment that I can't repeat.
Did he say that?
And I said, "Yes, we are." And he goes, "I'm not going to be there." And I said, yeah, because it's not like you can just hop on a plane at 6 a.m, a private plane, and go to Maryland. He goes, "No, we're leaving on Thursday." And then I said, "You're going to miss 2 games because Then next week, a huge game, Prep and West Side play.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Damon had to do this last year. He's in contact as he's watching the game from his hotel room on where Nebraska is playing. So he'll miss the next two games, and they're two huge games for West Side. So yeah.
Hell, I'd love to sit in there with him and just observe.
They should have like the Max Headroom. Remember that?
Yes.
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 Yeah,
He played for the Pirates.
Okay.
With Mazurowski. But like they should have like up on like a FaceTime, and they show it to the field. And,
What was that one?
Hey.
What was that one?
It's just rolling on.
Hey, Bryson.
Like the Big Bang Theory?
Hey, Bryson, we got to come down in coverage there. That'd be funny if they had like Damon on FaceTime on the sidelines, and they just moved it as the play moved down the field. They just moved their defensive coordinator.
Sorry,
They
coach.
give him the
Sorry.
Booger. They give him the Booger McFarland apparatus, but it's just a dummy with Damon's FaceTime.
But I'm looking forward to this. Like I've gotten to know not only the head coaches on both teams, but their assistant coaches. This should be a fun game tonight. There'll be a great crowd out there. The weather's going to be fantastic. So
I met Coach Rosenberg yesterday. That was such a good guy.
Yeah.
Even when I accidentally, I know how to say his last name, but I accidentally flubbed his last name. I was like, hey, because I was doing the pregame show. We did the recording for the pregame show. Hey, I'm Coach. I'm Matt McMaster here, Friday Night Football here with Coach Rosenberg. It was tough.
Tough.
And then I told him,
Tim?
and then we got done talking at we did a little after, and I go, hey, Coach, I'm really sorry for flubbing, your last name there. And he goes, don't worry about it. When I first was teaching English class here, I said, I looked at the sheet and I go, Jock, and they go, his name's Jack. He's like, you're going to be okay, kid. And I'm like, all right, thanks, Coach. Then we hung
Well,
up.
you shouldn't call him Rosenblatt.
I didn't call him Rosenblatt. Did Damon tell you how he's going to do it? Is he going to be watching your broadcast and then call into the game?
I can't reveal any more information.
Well, I mean,
Nope, can't.
yes, you can.
How? No, I can't. I'm sworn to secrecy. They've done it before, so it's not like this is a first thing.
Be great.
Be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's a pager because it's quicker? You can page it.
Get on the bat phone, direct to the room.
4-3, go to a 3-4. No, is that how pages
You know, the
work?
guy Rosenberg used to be the head coach at Des Moines Roosevelt. So Rosenberg at Roosevelt.
Okay.
The Rough Riders, OPS or Des Moines Public Schools.
Well, now he coaches at the Storm.
There you go.
I'm learning.
Sorry, I won't be able to listen to your radio broadcast.
You never listen to my
but
radio
if people would like to
broadcast.
see two beautiful, partially bald people on TV tonight, Connor and myself will be on Cox.
There's nothing partially bald about Connor Happer.
Whoa.
No, stop it. That's first off, it's not an insult. He does it by choice, right? Which makes him a
Connor's
dangerous
a
man.
friend.
Anybody who chooses to be bald is a dangerous human.
That's
Okay?
true. Kojak was a bad man.
Seriously. Brock Bowers looks like the type of guy that would put hair on his head just to shave it off again. All right.
That's your thought.
If you actively choose to go bald, I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid of you. Okay? Strike fear inside because everyone wants to keep their hair. Everybody wants to go to Turkey. Everybody wants to do the hair transplant. Everybody wants to buy the Hims and all the stuff on Instagram. The dangerous man is the type of guy who looks fear in the face and says, I will do the opposite.
Okay. John writes in about the hot dog roller. It'd be a waste of money. You're a waste of money.
It would
Just
be
kidding.
By the way, it would be a waste
The
of money.
good hot dogs,
It'd be such a
natural
waste of
casing, are not straight enough to roll on the rollers.
It would just get Vienna beef.
We just got tweeted at the show a little bit ago, and I tagged you the reply. Jordan, they got a roller from Rosenblatt. It sits at their tailgate every home game.
See, that's cool.
If that's not badass,
That's
I
awesome.
don't-
That's so badass.
That is a
That's so
big,
cool.
yeah.
The fact that that's still working.
Oh,
We're well over a decade since we've been at
I wanna come
Rosenblatt.
to that tailgate.
Do you think they put thousands of dollars in to get a new it's like that's like the ship of
Hey,
Odysseus?
ask him where they tailgate because I think for the Michigan game I may have walked by their tailgate because they had it on a big table and yeah, ask him if he's in the horseshoe.
Jordan, you're listening?
Yeah. All right. Mike Schaefer's coming up next. He'd be a hot dog roller guy, but they're in a brand new house.
What is
and he
that
can't-
supposed to mean?
Huh?
What is that supposed to mean? He'd be a hot dog roller.
Means
guy.
he's a great man.
Schaefer is a guy that appreciates the finer things in life, and there is nothing finer than your significant other saying, "For you, honey, a hot dog roller, not in the garage, but in the kitchen, is the way to go." And they both embrace it.
I just once again, you would use it probably 5 times in 1 month, and then you would stop using it,
Hell, that's a long.
or you would become incredibly obese.
Damn.
You're eating hot dogs all day, right?
You
What's
can
the
have
class-
some
guys? What's the classic
You
saying?
just don't eat. You don't have to use it every day.
Look at that
So you're
picture. He
just
has
gonna
more than
roll
hot dogs on
just
there.
to roll hot dogs.
Taquitos?
I want a hot dog. Yeah, you mix it up on the roller. It's not a one-dimensional roller.
It's not like Maryland's offense.
Well, they go through the air. If they were on the ground, I would be more of a hot dog. Yeah,
It's more of a.
they're more of a flinging taco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're more of a Euro, if you will.
All right, Chafe is coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, we welcome in Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7. Good morning.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Good. Hey, if Shelby said to you, or you went to Shelby and said, hey, I got this hot dog roller, can we have it in the kitchen? Do you think she would allow you, and would you like that?
Like, one of those that you'd find at a concession stand or a gas station, that kind of thing?
Gas station.
Concession stand.
Gas station. No, because
Either or.
Gary was talking about the gas station one, which
Yeah,
was
either or.
obnoxiously big.
They're the same hot dog roller.
They're not the same hot dog roller. One's
Well, we actually had one of those for Hudson's first birthday. It was, we went concession food items, and we had nacho cheese and the hot dog roller and a popcorn machine and all of that stuff. So I'm pretty sure Shelby would be on board with it. I don't think that'd be a tough sell. She's seen him in action. She's seen it feed a mass army of people who descended upon our house for a first birthday party. So I don't think there'd be any tough sell at all on this for either party here.
I love how you couch this by saying it was Hud's first birthday. Actually, it was a birthday party for the adults.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's only so much that he understands that's going on, but I'll tell you this much. Adults love the really crappy nacho cheese thing. Like, I find that stuff disgusting.
I think it's awesome.
Everyone
It's so
else is
good.
like, oh, I'm going to slather this hot dog that I have just completely in nacho cheese sauce that's been melting in your basement for like 48 hours so it can get to the approximate room temperature out of like the same sort of baggie used for boxed wine. But people love it. So, what are you going to do?
People like that Nebraska has a couple of rush ends. McCullough has been a huge help to Mr. Williams. This whole week, looking at Maryland's defense, Shafe, we've talked about Mathis and Stewart and Mathis, and they look legit down the road to be playing on Sundays. They're only freshmen, but we're only talking about them. Is this the day where the conversation shifts from the pregame about two really good rush ends for Maryland that are freshmen to a redshirt freshman rush end for Nebraska, who's got a peculiar first name, but he's got an easy last name to pronounce, and he's playing well in Winery Williams.
Yeah, I mean, easy name to pronounce. Yeah, he's had a really nice kind of breakout party against Michigan State, and he's one of these guys that when we talked before the year and the conversation that I recall having, I know it sort of gets lost once the season starts and everyone's expected to be perfect, but the idea was the defense is going to have to find itself a little bit as you got into this year. Guys who hadn't had a lot of playing time were going to get playing time in mass, and how they responded to that and how they used it and how they developed was going to sort of determine how things would look for you. And there's little question that Williams Winery, who looked good against Cincinnati when no one expected him to play as much as he did, has continued to improve throughout the year in the 5 games that he's had. The expectation is by the time that guy gets to November, he's going to be even better than he is in October. And that's really exciting because we're seeing some flashes from him that indicate there's a really good player in there, which isn't a big surprise. I mean, he was a top 10 player in his high school class. He was a highly regarded defensive lineman that was recruited by everybody in the country. And he was a guy who needed a change of scenery, and Nebraska provided that. He's got a good coach, I think, there in Coach Braden. And I think Nebraska, it was always going to be a work in progress, as I said, with the defense, but specifically with the defensive line. Whether you want to talk Williams Winery or Keona Davis or Riley Van Poppel or Elijah Judy or Cameron Lenhart, I mean, pick somebody. All of them were coming into this for the first time where they were going to get this much playing time. Some of them had played before. Keona Davis had gotten, 5 to 10 snaps a game. There's a huge difference between that and getting 35, 40 snaps a game, the conditioning necessary, the preparation necessary. That's on-the-job training. And I think Williams Winery is a great example of that. So, too, is a guy that's across from him. An entirely different career. And Deshaun McCullough, who I think is getting better week by week as a pass rusher, because he's learning how to do it again after 2 years as a nickelback for Oklahoma. So I think Nebraska's defense in general looks like a bunch of guys that are playing better as they move forward because they're learning more about football. They're learning about how to play this many snaps and what they need to do. And, it's not going to be perfect, but I think Nebraska's defense, we really wanted to judge it after the first conference game. I think it's going to be fascinating how people feel by the time we get to the end of November.
Mike, you bring up a great point about this defensive line being young, and we're going to see them grow as they continue to have more starts. Do you have the similar outlook for the offensive line at this point?
I think right now my outlook with the offensive line is okay. They've had one game where this is their 5 guys. Let's see what it looks like in game 2. Let's see what it looks like in game 3. I mean, I think so much of this is we really want to make grand sweeping generalizations because of one result. And if we know anything about sports, it's a singular sample size. And even just a handful of games sometimes isn't enough. And that's what's difficult about this. And you have a guy in Elijah Pritchett who I think can play at a high level, but also can have these moments in the same game where he could have a really nice play and then completely forget who he's supposed to pick up and blitz pick up and allow, a guy to come free off the edge and demolish his quarterback. I mean, that's the up and down inconsistency of a guy like Elijah Pritchett. It's why he wasn't exactly invited back to Alabama last year, despite being a starting offensive lineman. And you don't want to lose those guys in the portal. But this is part of the deal. So you're trying to navigate around that. You're trying to let him work through it. You're trying to see what type of player he can be, at the end of the year, because you're hoping it's going to be better than what he is at the beginning. I think the one thing Nebraska's offensive line kind of had going for it, the guys in the middle, Lutovsky and Spindler, Evans, I think they have played reasonably well to pretty good. And if the 2 tackles, and I thought Gunnar Gatula had a pretty good game against Michigan State, if those guys elevate their play and they can stay healthy and continue to gel as a unit, I think Nebraska's offensive line can look better in November too. Like there's no reason or there's nothing that says just because this is how you looked against Michigan or how you looked at the beginning of October is what we should expect or anticipate the team to be when they're going to play USC in a month or when they're going to play Penn State in a month. They can get better. Like when we talk about a developmental program, it's developmentally, incrementally throughout the season too. It's not just that you stop developing once the season starts and this is who everybody is every week. That's not how this works.
More likely to happen. Nebraska running the football tomorrow. They, in one game, eclipsed their previous 2 totals in the Big Ten games combined. They've only run for 110 yards against Michigan and Michigan State. Do they eclipse that against Maryland, or do they stay in that similar range of 43 yards rushing, 67 yards rushing? What happens with the run game tomorrow?
Yeah, I think they're going to run better against Maryland, but I don't think it's going to be like gangbusters. It's certainly not going to be 2019 where, Nebraska had a bunch of yards in College Park on the ground. I think that they will, put up kind of more of their customary 125 to 130 yards. Like that's sort of the range I expect for Nebraska in Big Ten play at this point in time. Now sacks could be limiting of that, and I anticipate Maryland will have a few of those. I think this is going to be a relatively low-scoring game because I think Nebraska will opt to maybe be a little bit more conservative, try to play on top of Maryland a little bit. If they can pin them deep, force Maryland to drive against their defense, not give them short yardage fields or things of that nature. So I am very curious if Nebraska kind of gets into a pattern of getting over to Maryland's side of the field and then one sack just takes them out of a drive. This is not a good team when it's off schedule right now. And some of that is they just don't have the ability to erase some of those plays because when you try to look downfield, that's when the pass protection issues seem to pop up. So I think Nebraska runs better. I don't know that it necessarily leads to more points, if that makes sense.
Okay. Now, at the end of the third quarter, last week against Michigan State, 3rd and 10, they make the game-changing play, 45, I think it was 45-yard completion to Ja'Cory Barney down the field. And we haven't seen that a ton from this offense dating back to last year and then even into this year. Do you think that play could end up being like the opening of the floodgates for Nebraska in terms of their downfield passing, or maybe they just lack the personnel, in your opinion? What do you think about that?
I mean, the largest takeaway I have from that is I'd like to see Dylan the move a little bit more. I'd like to see Nebraska roll him out, let the field down, let him make a couple easy decisions, let him throw it away, let him just run for 3 yards and get out of bounds. I mean, he's been a sitting duck in the pocket, and it feels like Nebraska hasn't done enough rolling of him to kind of mitigate some of that. We saw what different player, entirely different player. We saw Michigan have a lot of success just rolling Bryce Underwood and cutting the field down against the secondary. I think Nebraska can do the same thing with a better passing quarterback. Maybe not the dynamic athlete that Bryce Underwood is, but a guy who can throw better. And so I don't think it's a surprise that 3 of the best passes that we've seen all year from Dylan Raiola, he rolled to his right to do it. I mean, the Hail Mary, which you can say fortuitous luck play, but it still put the ball down there where it needed to be. The touchdown that didn't count with Isaiah Hunter, I think, is his best throw and best play of the season, unfortunately. And then the Ja'Cory Barney one. All of them result in him getting out to the right and then letting that ball fly. I think, there's an element of this where Dylan, when he gets hit, he's in the pocket. He's not getting his eyes downfield. He's not going to find those guys. If you roll him, he's forced to kind of look up the field. And I think that helps him out a little bit. So I am curious if Nebraska can find a way to get that in their offense.
It's kind of, I believe they are still, they live together, or they lived under the same roof, so they understand each other. And here at Nebraska, it's required that if somebody is your roommate and you're the quarterback, you're supposed to throw the football to him. Dane Key has been a discussion this week because Dane Key in 2 Big Ten games has a grand total of 3 catches for 36 yards. That's not what they signed up for, and he can do more than that. There's a little bit more man coverage that is being in place. So the discussion this week about Dane Key, do you think you'll see him get involved early? And if not, is this something that we need to discuss further?
I don't know that it's that big of a discussion. I don't know. I guess to me, it'd be one thing if Dane Key's not getting involved in Nebraska, isn't able to pass the football, but that hasn't really been true. I mean, Nebraska threw for 300 and some yards against Michigan, and Ja'Cory Barney was a big recipient of it. Isaiah Hunter was involved. Luke Lindenmeyer was involved. Emmett Johnson was involved. And Dane Key had a couple catches. You have Michigan State where, you're not moving the ball particularly well. The one thing that stands out to me is there's a third down where Dylan just looked right at a wide open Dane Key at the top of the formation on a slant and should have just hit him. Hit him with that, you get the first down, you move forward, and he didn't. So maybe that's an element of Dane Key has been open, and Dylan hasn't just gotten him the ball the way that he should. But a lot of this to me is my worldview of Nebraska doesn't change if Dane Key's the third option for them at wide receiver. I don't think it's a question that Ja'Cory Barney and Isaiah Hunter are explosive and probably more explosive than Dane Key. Where I am surprised, what sort of makes me just confused a little bit, is I don't understand how Dane Key isn't more of an option or getting more targets in the red zone. That's a guy that it feels like it's an area of the field where he can win. It's an area of the field where it seems like, they had a really nice play against Cincinnati. I'd like to see a lot of things differently in red zone play, but a little more action to Dane Key wouldn't be a bad thing.
Oh, I mean, we'll have that Cincinnati memory for a long time about Dane Key. I'm with you on the red zone. I wasn't picking at something, but it's somebody who, you expect to make plays. I think you and I even commented on it Saturday. We looked down and
we did.
Has Dane Key touched the ball?
Yeah.
And we're like, no, he hasn't. I don't know. We'll see.
Mike, the kind of book is out now in a way on Nebraska's offense and what the potential weaknesses are. And I think that now that teams are pretty well aware, right, they're weak here, there's a better way to attack it. Do you think this is a game where Dana just gets in his bag, makes his hay, and proves, okay, hey, I'm a good offensive coordinator, not because I can use all these weapons, but because I can now scheme around some of the things that I know that teams are going to try and do against us?
Yeah, I mean, I think when Dana tells us he's going to just react to what the other team is doing, he's being as honest as he probably can.
Sure.
And so he may have different things set up creative wise that he can explore and use in games. And we've seen some nice play design. Part of the issue when you're an offensive play caller and you don't know what you're going to get from your offensive line in terms of protection, and he kind of hinted at it, and Matt Rule did too, you can call deep shots. I mean, how many people are hollering for Nebraska to throw down the field? When you call them and the other team blitzes perfectly, or your quarterback or your running back or someone doesn't recognize where the pressure is coming from, it doesn't matter. The thing about going down the field is it is a two-part process. Your quarterback has to stay upright long enough to see the person, and there has to be enough time for the receiver to either break away or get downfield to get in position for where the ball's going to get thrown. So, I know that wasn't your entire question.
No, you're fine.
I think some of it for Dana Holgorsen is you have to, and Scott Frost ran into this, where if you just go in it and you're like, I've got these really cool plays, these plays are going to be great, but you're not accounting for how the other team is playing, or you're not accounting for what your deficiencies are, which is a huge issue for Frost at times. then it's really hard to call a good game anyways. It's why sometimes, as great as play design is, having those simple pet plays that work is very valuable. And it's also why a guy like Ja'Cory Barney, I think, has become the most important person in Nebraska's offense, because you can utilize him in so many different ways. Sure. You can get him the ball in a way that counteract blitzes. You can get him the ball near the line of scrimmage, and he can turn it into big plays. You can really take advantage over the middle of the field with him now, and he's tough. And so I just think, like, for Holgorsen, he has to have levels to what he wants to do. I would imagine he has great ideas or a great plan coming into most games, but it's whether Nebraska can hold up long enough for him to enact it. And you can't just turn around and hand it off to your running back and expect to have 180 yards at the end of the game. Like, if you could do that, I think we would get the full complement of what Dana could do. But Nebraska's limited, and you have to work with that.
Good chatter on this. Last week, 4 minutes to go in College Park, Washington was driving. Eventually, Coleman would score. They'd kick the PAT. They're up 24-20. Of course, they go on to win. With 4 minutes to go tomorrow into the early evening on the East Coast, what does this game look like?
Nebraska has a slight lead. Maryland has the ball. They've been struggling to push it downfield all day. Nebraska's pass rush steps up, and they get them off the field, and the offense takes control, runs the clock out. That's what happens at the end of 4 minutes to change to go in College Park. I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be within one score. I think this is everything that Matt Rule's trying to tell us. I think Nebraska's going to struggle because the environment's going to be sleepy. I think all of that's going to happen, but I do think they're going to get out of there with a win.
All right. I appreciate it. Enjoy, and we'll talk again next Friday on an actual game day.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
That is Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7. The official meteorologist, Gary and Matt.
I just saw this.
Yeah, Travis. Okay. We don't get Travis here in Omaha, in the Omaha market.
Okay.
He said, well, the weather, our weather looks warm and breezy in Nebraska. It could be a damp late afternoon in College Park, Maryland.
All right.
Scattered off and on showers will be possible throughout the game. Hopefully the lightning looks to stay away until after the game.
So I hope so for your sake, too.
That's true.
I like damp.
Rule did.
I like damp weather.
Context.
I
Pretty
like,
important.
I like damp weather.
Why I'm just okay. Rule did reference that there could be rain. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Travis. Why do you like damp weather?
Because it's
is this a new development?
No, it's bear weather. This is
But they're going to go in a dome.
This is bear weather. Damp is just pure bear. It's 52 degrees, right? You got a long sleeve t-shirt, a little bit of a hoodie. Maybe you put on a light flannel above that, right? You're not freezing, but you can feel the nippiness in the air, and then you get hydrated by the dampness. I like it when it's a little damp.
Man,
I like it when you can smell. You get a little
different.
bit of the hint of the sewers. Not all the sewers, just a little hint of the sewers. Damp weather, great weather. Great football weather.
A lot in there.
More of a cold, you were explaining, more than like damp. Like there wasn't a lot of moisture there.
I thought
but
bear
it seemed
weather
like
was
you
7
like.
degrees.
Do you like the dry dampness?
Okay, wait. First off, bear weather is not 7 degrees. Okay,
Growing up, it used to say at Soldier Field, this is bear weather.
No, anyone would tell you bear weather is like 35 to 52, damp and windy. That's bear weather. That's what we play a lot of our games in. I like what's a dry dampness? Isn't that what do they call that? Not an onomatopoeia. Contradiction.
An Al Roker term.
Contradiction. Isn't that a contradiction?
Well, I'm trying to follow along here.
I don't like a dry dampness. I just like it when it's a little bit cold, but I'm not freezing my butt off. And
damp weather does make us feel colder.
You mean moist?
Yeah.
Yeah, damp and moist.
You like moist.
Yeah, I like things. I like it damp.
Moist is real different.
I mean, when you have the layer of air that is next to the skin, it's damp. Therefore, it takes more of the body's heat, energy to warm it up.
You do a great job reading off the
perceived
Google.
temperature is
wet, cold, and dry
cooler.
cold.
You are the like I can tell when you're reading off of the prompter. You know that?
I'm not. I'm reading actually Travis's bio online here.
That's really?
Yes. Yes.
Shout out Travis.
Remember,
Thank you
I have
for
a
your
meteorology minor.
Do you actually?
Yes, Jimmy.
Oh yeah,
haven't we? We've discussed.
And I used to watch OG Weather
We've
Channel.
actually had a conversation before.
I would have gone into it if I knew math.
It's great. It's great. Yes, we had a conversation.
We've had the conversation.
Yeah. So our official meteorologist, Travis Klinicki from Channel 4 in Hastings.
Thank you, Travis.
Morning. They have a great morning show. I know the Matt Courtney loves their morning show.
Okay.
Like they have a really good mix of the anchor
My
and then
mother-in-law
Travis.
watches that channel.
Like doesn't everybody on morning television shows love the meteorologist?
Have
Like he's their friend.
Oh, that's a great point. It is as if the meteorologist is like the guy who buys the beers at the bar for
Look at Phil
everybody.
Connors.
Like when Tom, they'd be real pissy at the desk, and then Skilling would come on. They'd
Yeah.
be like, Tom, how are you, brother?
Because you know what? Only once in a while does the meteorologist deliver, bad news. Like they're not telling you about, the latest shooting in the old market or something like that. They're
But
like,
it'll be
"You know
sunny
what?
at 75.
If you happen to be in the old market when the shots rang out at this time of the day, the weather was actually really nice. It wasn't damp, but it was nice and comfortable. You probably just needed like a little windbreaker.
By the way, when shots are ringing
Probably
out
red
anywhere,
just in case.
I'm not. If shots are going off and I'm in the vicinity, I'm not looking to somebody next to me and being like, "Hey, great weather we're having."
Well, in case you're a witness, you have to describe the weather.
Where I
No,
grew
you
up.
don't.
Hey,
You
there was
just
a
have to
drive-by
describe the
last night,
person.
but what about that fall chill? It smelled like
Sir,
fall and
sir,
gunfire.
Some real crazy activity happened down here last night. Do you remember anything? Well, man, I mean, the fog was tough, and some idiots had their high beams on, and they thought that you put your high beams on, it makes the fog. It goes through the fog. They're dumb. It actually makes the fog even worse.
Actually, a
'cause you see the
beautiful day for the
particles.
Bloods and the Crips to clash. So in the 70s, it was great. Everyone in a good mood.
That is so dark.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back. We'll give our final thoughts on the game.
We're gonna get canceled.
Why are we going to get canceled?
We're gonna get a second bill email.
No. This we've not referenced ICE recruiting in Omaha.
But we've referenced ice to the weather.
Should I tell him?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
Okay.
It's not vanilla.
Much different.
I'm
Greater
aware.
different. Yeah.
I'm
Greater different.
aware.
Yeah. One can keep you inside. The other can keep you away from living in this country.
And then you hope there's ice on the roads because that can deter. But anyway, we digress.
All right. Let's talk football.
Yeah, shall
All right, tomorrow, Big Red Overreaction. John Bishop, yours truly, ahead of the Cubs game. Get in early, get in often. After Nebraska and Maryland. My gut's been saying either close or double figure. I really want to go 28-14. I really want to go 28-14 Nebraska. But I kind of like where Schaaf was going. I think Nebraska finds a way. Tells us if you're a good team, you win a game like this. They get to 5-1. I like Nebraska 21-17 tomorrow. Even though if I would like to get credit if it actually is 28-14.
I will do Nebraska tomorrow, 19-10.
I'm trying to think of quickly. No, I'm trying to quickly think in my head about a scoregami.
19-10. Okay. I don't think Maryland does anything against this defense. I think that Nebraska.
Cunanan have a bad day.
Cunanan has a great day. He hits 4 field goals.
They only score 1 touchdown.
They score 1 touchdown. Here's how I look
Barney
at it.
punt return.
I think they're going to be able to push the ball down the field. I think they're really they're going to pretty consistently gain up a ton of yards and get to the Maryland 25, the Maryland 18, the Maryland 15. I am just afraid of they're going to be on the doorstep of scoring a touchdown and then they give up a sack. And then, they give up a sack. Now we got to run the ball 2 more times, get in position, kick the field goal. And I think that at some point in the game, when Nebraska realizes that their defense is just too much for Maryland to handle, Rule is going to go into that kind of aggressive conservative role of like, all right, we're gonna take our shots, but we're also going to be managing the clock. We're going to be managing this game, control the game, and they're going to be very content with winning the game by single digits.
Jimmy?
Man, this one's tough, and I haven't been able to get a feel all week, but I'll go 21-16 Nebraska.
All right. I hope Nebraska's 5-1 when we talk to you again on Sunday. All right, let's finish up here with our picks, our competition.
Update.
Do you have a fancy graphic for our 1620 The Zone? Oh, my God.
What do you mean? Oh, my God.
I'm up 27 points.
Up 27 points. Everybody knows, though,
Everybody's just saying on the stream, just win. That's right. Just win, baby. Thank you, Jimmy.
If I get all 3 picks correctly, I can cut the lead to 7.
All right, we're still in it. In it to win it. You never know. It's a weird weekend, okay?
Last week, just for an update, I went 2-1. My picks were Texas hit the under. I had a team total under 23.5. That hit. I had Illinois -9.5. That hit. And I had Vanderbilt plus 11.5 because Kalen DeBoer is the worst. That ended up not hitting. I don't think that's
the case. He looks great in a hoodie, black hoodie.
Kalen DeBoer, 13-2 when he's a top 10 team facing another ranked team. Fun fact. Gary Sharp, you missed with BYU last week, but you hit with TCU and you hit with the under on the Saints and Giants. My picks this week. I will take Michigan State -8.5 at home against UCLA.
Okay, I got a different number. We're going the same.
Okay. I have Iowa State -2.5 on the road against Colorado.
Okay.
And then I have the Indiana-Oregon under. That's at 53.5.
All right. I got Michigan State at 7.5 because I'm actually backing this up with money. So what do you want to do here?
We'll both go 7.5. That's fine.
7.5. I like Tennessee's team total over 40.5 against Arkansas.
I like that.
And I like Virginia Tech getting 14.5 against Georgia Tech.
Okay.
So Georgia Tech plays to the level of competition against unranked ACC teams. They struggle, and Virginia Tech's been better since they had their firing.
So you have Tennessee team total, MSU -7.5. And then what was your last pick?
Virginia Tech plus 14.5.
Va Tech plus 14.5. Sharp betting, Mr. Sharp.
I agree with a lot of chatter on the stream here. We'll see how Nebraska, if they open up the offense. But I think this is a field position game. Remember, Maryland doesn't run the ball well. I know that just means Nebraska shows up and you start running the ball well. I just don't think that's going to be the case. They will get some yardage. They will throw for more yards against Nebraska than the other Power 4 teams have, but they will not eclipse 175 yards passing. I just think if Nebraska has a 2-score win, it's because Maryland couldn't stay on the field and Nebraska had short fields. Barney's going to return a punt return for a touchdown.
I love that.
I just think this is a field position game, and I like special teams, and Nebraska hasn't shot themselves in the foot yet.
Look, something you brought up yesterday, it's like Maryland drops a football. And I think
21 drops.
Crazy. And a 14% drop percentage. One of the highest. No, come on. That is a good number.
No,
that's a
very
good number.
I like my 21.
But
I say 21. 21
but mine
in 5
puts it in
games.
percentage ranks, and then I can tell you that's the top 5 worst in the country. That's absolutely terrible. And I think that if you're going to win against this Nebraska secondary that has
even the vanilla statistics and your eyes and the advanced, they're great. They're incredible. You cannot drop the ball when you have an opportunity against the secondary. If they do that, it ain't going to be well for Merrigan.
All right.
Maryland.
Who?
Merrigan?
Merrigan?
I don't
Like that.
I have no clue.
Wait till Nebraska wakes up this morning and they realize they're playing Merrigan. Damn, we did not scout them. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Live, laugh, and punt. The Hawkeyes are back in action, so they'll be punting. Wisconsin, just a 3-point dog. Huh.
It's a weird one.
Yeah, that'll be that's a huge game for Luke Fickell. But we don't know the health of Gronowski. And Wisconsin stops the run. So enjoy that game. You can enjoy high school football tonight. Come over and join us on TV.
Or radio.
It's the only place you can find it tonight is on TV on Cox.
No, it's not.
Connor and myself will be on at 7 with all the fun and frivolity. And Connor might have a telestrator tonight.
Actually?
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Or if you want and you get bored, you got John and Matt on 1620.
Properly promoted. If you can't get yourself to a television
That'll be
screen,
somewhere else.
you can listen to us on the
Take
radio.
your phone and stream it. You can watch us right there in the stadium.
No.
But we got Elkhorn South and West Side. Radio and TV, both are fine broadcasts.
Yes.
Read about it in the World Herald tomorrow morning.
Yeah, because Stu has already told me he'll be there.
Hell,
He
nice.
goes, you want to do halftime again?
Oh, we'll bring him on for halftime.
You guys have a halftime show?
Yeah, we
All
do.
right. All right. Make memories, everybody. Be safe out there. Enjoy the weekend. Also, Omaha Hockey, good luck. They open up Gab's 9th season. And if you're going to the game, remember, Center Street between 60th and the entrance to Baxter Arena is a CF. Okay? For people that live in that neighborhood, figure it out!
Have a good weekend, everybody.
We'll talk to you Monday at 6. Crossover with my TV partner. Remember, TV tonight, Cox, 7 o'clock, Elkhorn, Southwest Side. He's coming up next for the crossover. Have a good call tonight.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you on Monday. Or Big Red Overreaction.